Time for the evening boxing talks, even though I got the late night boxing talks thumbnail up there. Very interesting time, very interesting. Two good fights this weekend. They're not big fights, but they're still good fights. They're not big fights, but I like the shows. I like those cards. Got Clavel versus Plata on ESPN. Light flyweight unification match. That's tomorrow night. I'm going with Kim Clavel to win that fight. I think she can win on points, but I do think it's going to be harder than her last fight. We got Ajagba versus Shaw. Stephen Shaw, unbeaten guy, who's standing in for Oscar Rivas. It was supposed to be Rivas, but he got an eye injury. And, already talked about that. I like that fight. I think that's a good fight. Everybody's talking about this whole Spence and Crawford thing, different angles of that story. And I caught a soundbite from Nesta Gibbs of the Boxing Voice. Shout out to him. I agree with a lot of what he's been saying. I agree that Spence is taking everyone for a ride. What's goody, Timmy? I agree that Spence is taking everybody for a ride, and that's what they've been doing for a long time now. Those of you that follow the channel will have heard me say that a million times, that they've been dangling that carrot in front of the fans. And it's only really a substrata of fans that still believe, what this guy has to say. More and more people, it's becoming obvious. They're like, yo, dog, you never had no intention of fighting this dude. You never did. This has been going on for 5 years. I got a comment. What's goody, Michael? I got a video. Somebody left me a comment on one of the videos I did about 4 to 5 years ago. Let me see if I can pull up the comment, if I can go to it. Because the video is really old, man. Where is that video? It's a really old video. The guy left me a comment. It's from 5 years ago. And literally, it's scary how accurate all of it turned out to be. That in the video I said that based on what Errol was saying, based on what he was saying at the time, this is the time that he got drunk and stood on the podium and started trashing Terence Crawford. I said it 5 years ago that I know what this is going to turn into, that to me, he didn't sound like a guy who wanted to fight. He sounded like a guy who was rationalizing reasons not to fight, why Terence is not important, that if you trash his resume and you say that he hasn't fought anyone, if you're talking like that, it's really not because you want to fight him. It's because you want to convince people that you shouldn't have to, And I was saying that 5 years ago. I literally just watched it back, and I was surprised at how accurate it was. Even I was surprised, wow. You know what I mean? I really hit the nail on the head with that one. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's no surprises. Shout out to Dennis F. Boston. Shout out to Dennis. What's goody, Wayne? What it do? You know what I mean? And yeah, it's I think that Nesta Gibbs, he said it best in the soundbite that he had. I want to pull it up for you guys. That he kind of surmised the situation accurately. I'm going to pull it up. Because there's no other way to describe it other than an abusive relationship that Spence's fans have with him. They're in an abusive relationship with Spence. That's literally what they're in. Let's see if I can find it. There you go.
To see so many stupid people, man. I swear, so many people talking about this shirt, not understanding that he's playing off your emotions. He beat Ugas, getting the third belt, and he puts out a shirt like he's about to go negotiate with Bud, and that's next. Makes a bunch of millions off the shirt. That don't happen. Blames it on Bud. Tells you he's going to spin the block. Puts out another shirt that he's about to spin the block. Makes a bunch of millions. Announces he's fighting Thurman at 54 for no belts, not making any defense. Again, you're just an idiot, and you like to be abused. You into S&M, I get it, man. Some of you dudes are fucking weirdos and shit, you know, and you want to be handcuffed and spanked and weird shit like that. I'm not into Twitch, man. Thank you.
Yo, shout out to Nesta Gibbs, man. That shit was gold, man. That was gold, man. It was concise. It was to the point. He got the message across that a lot of them guys, man, and I've been saying it on this channel for a very long time. A lot of them guys, what they like about Errol, it really don't have a lot to do with boxing. I'm sorry to say. I don't want to be that guy and I don't want to go low, but I'm just saying that if you're a boxing fan, look at Errol's boxing career. How long has it taken him to get 3 damn belts? How long? Not that that's some unique achievement that's exclusive to him. It actually isn't. It took Josh Taylor less time to become undisputed than it took Errol to get 3 belts. It took Josh Taylor less time. It took Usyk less time to become undisputed than it's taken Errol to get 3 belts. It took less time. Look at how much has happened from the moment he won the IBF in 2017 till now in 2023. 2023. That's a long time. Usyk done become undisputed at one weight, unified in another. What the fuck? He knew he done become undisputed. Canelo done become undisputed. Errol's still out here. 3 belts, and we supposed to act like that's a monumental achievement. It's not. You're not the only unified champion. Stephen Fulton is a unified champion. MJ Akhmadaliev is a unified champion. Kenshiro Taraji is a unified champion. You know? You're the only unified champion. Artur Beterbiev is a unified champion. Usyk is a 2-division, former undisputed, current reigning, unified champion in the heavyweight division. Being unified is not this big deal that Spence's fans make it out to be. It's just not. It's not. Like, what happened is they attached their egos to the fighter. That's what happened. These guys that you see that, you know, that you can see that, like, your attachment to this guy is really not even boxing related. They attach their egos to it. They don't want to be wrong. They don't want it to be Errol's fault, because if it's Errol's fault, that means you've been wrong for 4 or 5 years. That's what that means. They need to find a way for it to be Bud's fault. No Bob Arum, no Top Rank, no ESPN. It's still Bud's fault. Why? Because you believe everything Errol says. You watched PBC make a fight with Top Rank. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Errol telling y'all he's on the wrong side of the street. Meanwhile, PBC just made a fight with Top Rank. They made 2 fights with Top Rank right in front of you. But you were still saying, boy, on the wrong side of the street. You can't make it up. You really can't. Spence only wants to fight bums. King Richard, shout out to King Richard. Avo, Beterbiev is a unified champion with more title defenses than you have fights. Ow! What's goody, Jules? Be at the Clavel versus Plata. Shout out to my man B Greater. That's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a very big fight. Shout out to Kim Clavel. I haven't had the opportunity to interview her yet, but I look forward to doing it at some point this year. I tried to do it last year, but the schedules didn't really line up. I did correspond very briefly, and I would like to have her on the channel. She's a great Canadian fighter. For those that don't know her, Kim fucking Clavel. She's fucking great. She's going to be in action this Friday. Fight's going to be on ESPN Plus if you're in America. It's a great fucking fight. It's fucking nuts, man. Spence brainwashed these guys, man. Al Heyman brainwashed them first, but then Spence helped to brainwash them. You literally watched the PBC make a fight with Top Rank. You watched it 2 times. But Spence convinced you, bird on bong pie to the speed, because he said so. The fight would have been easier to make if Top Rank would have been involved, because they could have gave Crawford his guarantee, and Al Heyman could have gave Errol is guaranteed. So it wouldn't have been all on one promoter or one platform. They could have did the exact same structure as Fury versus Wilder. Exact same structure. But at that time, Al didn't want to work with Bob. Not when it came to that fight. He was willing to work with him for the Fury fight, but not that fight. And you know why that is? Because Al thought Fury's gonna lose. Wilder knocked him down 2 times in the first fight. He'll finish him in the second. It's the only reason he was willing to make that fight. It's the only reason. When it came to Crawford and Spence, Al knows Spence doesn't win that fight. Does not win that fight. Terence Crawford would do Spence worse than Fury did Wilder. Yes. Terence Crawford would do Errol Spence Jr. worse than Fury did Crawford. There would not be enough left of Errol Spence Jr. for 2 more fights. There wouldn't be enough left of him. It'd be like Endgame. I don't feel so good, Mr. Heyman. And he'll just drift into he'll just turn into like cigarette ash or some shit or Henny bottles. Oh shit. He'll just turn into mad Henny bottles. I don't feel so good, Mr. Heyman. It's real, man. The topic of today's show is not the fighters, is not the negotiations, is not Ugas. The topic today is the fans, the dwindling fans, the substrata of fans that still feel the need to protect Errol when interest in the fight in 2023 it isn't even what it was in 2018. The interest is not the same. In 2018, it was hot. It was hot. They met up, they confronted each other. Everybody was talking about it. It was very exciting to see both fighters in the same space. And the dichotomy of how they speak and how they interact and act with each other, it was very exciting. And, they left everybody hanging. And they still want to wrap it around Crawford's neck because that's what they do with everyone. That's what they do with everyone. That's what Fulton is trying to do with both Akhmadaliev and Inoue. Oh, it's their fault. It's their fault we're not fighting, not me. Bro, you the one that's leaving 122. They there, you the one that's leaving. With Wilder, oh, it's AJ's fault that we ain't fight. Bro, you admitted they offered you more money to fight them. You admitted that. At the Fury beat you up, but you admitted that they offered you more money to fight them, but you chose, or it was chosen for you, to fight him. It's what they do with everybody. They turn it into, oh, it's their fault, and then they want the fans to argue about it while they sell you some shit you wasn't even asking for. Who was asking for Fulton versus Figueroa 2? Please, who? The highlight of Fulton versus Figueroa 2 is Brandon Figueroa's sister. Not even the fight. It's his sister. That we might get another look at his sister. Even though you can go look at her on Instagram if it matters that much to you. But that is the highlight of that. Shout out to Carl. My man Wayne. Yo, Wayne actually got to meet Ellie Scottney the other day. I'm fucking jealous, man. He literally got to meet Ellie Scottney the other day. He seen her in the street, got out the joint, took a selfie. Shout out to Ellie Scottney. Crawford. These are very emotional times for Errol Spence Jr.'s fans. And that's why there's so much infighting and bickering. Shout out to my man Trouble T-Roy. You know what I mean? A fan in New Zealand told him, T-Roy's here in America. You know what I mean? But a guy in New Zealand told him, if he ever sees him, if he's ever in New Zealand, there are going to be problems. Big problems. I don't know that T-Roy is ever going to be in New Zealand, but like I said, there's been a lot of that. There's been a lot of instability, idle threats, infighting. The other day I made a post that I'm not remotely excited for Spence versus Thurman. No, this is not 2017. Thurman is not who he was in 2017. In 2023, he's fought once in the last 3 years, and the night of the fight, he will not have fought for a year. Over a year, actually, because his last fight was in February, and his next fight is supposed to be in April. So when they're in the ring, Thurman will not have fought in over a year. Spence will not have fought in a year. This is not a great fight. There's nothing great about this fight. There are no titles on the line. How does the WBC order you to give Keith a title shot, and what you resort to doing is fighting him at 54 where neither of you have a title? And the WBC don't say nothing. Like, oh, good enough. Good enough. Long as you fight him. Good enough. It's a joke. It is a joke. It's a joke. What's good, EJBN? You know what I mean? It's a joke. And, you know, they still defend him. This Pee Wee Herman looking guy, I think his name is Monty. Monty got this. He gets really upset. And he keeps trying to argue about it. And, you know, I just do what I normally do. I just run down the facts and stats that, you know, Thurman's only fought once in 3 years. He hasn't beaten an elite fighter since 2017. You know, like a top 10. I'm not even going to say elite. He hasn't beat a top 10 welterweight since 2017. That was the Danny Garcia fight. That was the last time he beat a top 10 welterweight. We can't say that you know, you didn't beat Manny, right? You barely survived Josecito Lopez, not that he was in the top 10. That's why you fought him, because he wasn't in the top 10, and he barely survived that guy. The last time that Keith Thurman beat a solid welterweight, if you can believe that, was 5 or 6 years ago. But this is supposed to be a great fight. Because who said so? The people still apologizing for Errol? You know? Is fighting the wrong guy a duck? And I say yes. And I agree with you, Joe. I agree with you, Joe. You know? The Pee Wee guy, I'm going to call him Pee Wee because if you go to my Twitter page, that's what he looks like. He literally looks like Pee Wee Herman, except he's losing his hair. Pee Wee wasn't losing his hair. He didn't lose it till many years later, but this guy is actually losing his hair. And he's built just like Pee Wee Herman. You know, you know the type. You know the type. They get on the internet, they might as well put on a bat suit. They're a completely different person to who they are in their day-to-day life. And, you know, he starts up and he didn't like that I said that I'm not excited about that fight. And I characterized it. I packaged it for him. You know, with no insults, I packaged it for him that, you know, A, B, C, and D. And he didn't like that. And he resorted to telling me what he thinks and what he feels, which did not address what I just said, because everything I just said, for the most part, aside from me not being excited, everything else I said was true. It was just the statistics of the fight going into the fight. And, you know, he didn't like that I said, because this is what I said. I said, I don't care how you feel about it. I didn't ask you, you know. You came here. You came here because you want to argue about your feelings. You see a complete stranger online and you don't like what they're saying, but they're not saying it to you. And they're not talking to you or conversing with you. And what you resort to doing, because it's all in the face, it's in the eyes, he resorts to being a little internet troll, you know? Can't make it up, man. Bro, if you old enough to be losing hair, you're too old to be an internet troll. If you're old enough that you start losing hair and hair still like I got all my hair under here. I just like the hat because of how it looks. Don't get it twisted. Got to get a haircut though, because my shit is boofing. If you're old enough that you're losing hair or you have no hair, you're too old to be an internet troll. Too old for that shit. Even worse is that he looks older than me, but I'd wager that he's a lot younger than me. He looks like one of these guys that starts losing his hair in his 20s. You know, you can't make it up, man. What do you think the guaranteed purse for Thurman is? I'd wager it's somewhere around 2, maybe 3 million, if I had to guess. because the guaranteed purse for the Porter fight was the guaranteed purse for the Porter fight, at least based on reports. You know, I don't know about behind the scenes, but based on reports. What was reported to the commission, they said, was $2 million apiece to both fighters. Which is bizarre, right? You gave Porter the same guarantee that you was gonna get. I can only deduce that maybe you got a bigger percentage of the upside if there even was an upside. But as far as the guarantees, both guys were reported to get $2 million guaranteed. That's what was reported to the commission. And but you have no money for Crawford, though. No money for Crawford. No money for the unbeaten, 3-division, 2-time lineal, 2-time Ring Magazine, former undisputed, current reigning WBO welterweight champion. No money for Crawford. Got a guarantee for Porter. Guarantee for Mikey Garcia. Guarantee for Ugas. No guarantee for Crawford. And people are still throwing numbers around because they were a part of the negotiations. They would know. Errol said, "What? No guarantees." Errol said that. Do you know something that Errol doesn't know? Or do you just want to believe that, yeah, it's all Terrence Crawford's fault? Everything is always someone else's fault with a PBC fighter. It's never their fault. The most fights that get fucked up and fucked off in this sport is PBC. But it's never their fault. And don't get it twisted like I just got smoke for them. I've been giving Top Rank smoke for the Regis Prograis shit. I said they're protecting Ramirez. I said they're protecting Lopez. I said that. I got smoke for them, but they don't fuck up as many fights as the PBC. They fuck up the most fights. Thurman getting a guarantee? Wow. We speculating, bro, but I'd wager that he is getting a guarantee. I'd wager that he is. I'd wager. Shout out to my man Boxing Beats and Rhymes. I got to shoot him a link. Got to. Prime I was in the United Kingdom. And like I said, Errol's fans are particularly edgy right now because they're noticing how many people are upset with this fight, that they don't like this fight, but not only do they not like the fight, they don't like the circumstances. The WBC ordered you to give Keith Thurman a title shot, and you're not giving him a title shot, and they're not stripping you, which a clever man can put together, that if they're giving you that much consideration for Keith Thurman, they would have given you that same consideration for Terrence Crawford. Shout out to my man Beats. What it do, Beats?
Yo, what's up?
Telling you, man, like it's just wild that it's not like it's a lot of people, because it really isn't a lot of people that are still defending him. A lot of people are actually sick of him. But it's just wild that there's even anyone left to root for Errol Spence Jr.
What, strap season to crap season, fighting Thurman for that reason, ducking Crawford like a track meeting, ducking Crawford like a track meeting.
Yo, bro, like and you know, there was just like this dude right yesterday. Guy looks like he weighs 120 pounds soaking wet. You know, he was very mad that I said that. Nah, I'm not the least bit excited about that fight. And even after I packaged it and I characterized, well, why am I not excited and what am I not excited about? All he had were emotional responses. And if you really pay attention, when you talk to a lot of the Spence fans, that's really all they have left are emotional responses, because logically, what the fuck are you excited about? Look at Errol. He barely fights. What are you excited about? Look at Thurman. He fights even less than Errol. What are you excited about?
All right. Well, let's go to Keith. All right. So I always go from 2019. I'm probably going to push it to 2020 and 23. All right. So 2017 is the last significant win he had. Danny Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last significant. That's 5 years ago. I don't do math. It's 5 years ago, right? So He's getting a shot based on his 2016 and 2017 form.
Has to be. It has to be. Bro, he comes back after a 2-year layoff. He fights a super lightweight coming off a knockout loss to a lightweight at welterweight. And that's enough to get him a title shot. Except it's not a Beats, it's not a title shot. That's the other thing.
It's not a title shot. Jose Cito Lopez wasn't ranked when he fought him, was he? He wasn't ranked.
No, bro. That's why he fought him, because he wasn't ranked. He wasn't in the top 10. I know that. He wasn't in the top 10.
This is what I tell you what. I can't stand the PBC fans. They've got all this crap to talk about AJ. This guy hasn't beat a ranked contender since 2017. At least I can go to 2020 when AJ beat his man, though. You know what I mean? This is 2017.
It's everybody, bro. Like, look, I'm not even going to use AJ because I feel that that's too obvious an example. We all know that AJ has a lot of fans and a lot of people support him. Right. I would use Dillian White, who a lot of people like to shit on, and it's just because he fights on Matchroom, really. Because if you think about it, he fought a lot of guys that are guys. He fought Hellenius years before Wilder. I know he didn't knock him out, but that's besides the point. That is a fighter that he fought years ago. Joseph Parker is a fighter that he fought years ago. Derek Chisora, 2 times, years ago. Rivas, years ago. Recently, he comes back against an unbeaten American up-and-comer, young guy, younger than he is, less wear and tear, never lost a fight. I'm not saying he's the greatest guy in the world. I'm saying that how do you shit on a guy with a resume like that and turn around and talk up Keith Thurman?
Their bias is, it stinks, bruh. It stinks. It really stinks. It stinks badly. You know, like Povetkin was ranked when he knocked out Dillian, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was ranked. He was top 10 ranked. He just come off the Michael Hunter draw. He was ranked. They were both ranked. You know?
It doesn't make sense in terms of, a boxing fan, because what is a boxing fan? A boxing fan is essentially a connoisseur of the sport. They want to see boxing matches. But how can you be a fan of a fighter that you don't see? Errol fought once last year. And he didn't fight at all the year before that.
Right.
Keith came back off a 2-year hiatus in February of last year and then sat out the rest of the year. You couldn't fight nobody.
Right.
Because remember what the story was. If Errol and Terrence are supposed to be fighting each other, right? The negotiations. Right. Why hasn't Keith fought? Why didn't he fight after Barrios? I know why. I'm not fucking dumb.
They're preserving him.
Bang.
They're preserving him.
The reason that he didn't take another fight is because they knew we're keeping him in. I don't even want to say they were keeping him in their back pocket. I want to say this is the fight they were always going to make, because you have to be an idiot to believe these people.
And the thing is, they couldn't even afford to let Keith stand in the street in case the breeze blew him over right now. So they got it wrapped up properly, because Keith's vulnerable, right? Keith's vulnerable.
I think that they both are, because the other angle of this, a lot of people are coming up with narratives as to why the fight is at junior middle instead of welter. And it's kind of obvious to me why. How long has Errol been cutting down to welterweight? Ages.
Too long now. Too long.
I don't think he can make welterweight anymore. And Keith probably could if his last fight wasn't fucking in February of last year. Maybe he could, because he's not a big guy.
Errol weren't in shape to fight on Terrence Crawford this early in the year. Errol weren't in no shape, bro, to fight Crawford in March, April. Sorry, don't believe it. Can't convince me. Weren't in shape.
And I'm telling you that the way it looks, like, think about how it all broke down. That Terrence, according to Terrence, who I believe in, whatever, bro, I don't see a liar in that guy, and I'm a pretty good judge of character. Mm-hmm. According to Terrence, the PBC wanted to move the fight out to this year. So he tells them, okay, then I'm going to fight David Abanesian. And that should have not been an issue for Al Heyman, because, well, if the fight wasn't going to happen last year anyway, what difference does it make if Terrence keeps busy? What difference does that make? And if the fight with Errol and Terrence was supposed to be this year anyway, Why didn't you just spin the block? Like you said you were going to spin the block. You actually put that on a t-shirt. He's going to spin the block. Some idiots actually bought that shit.
Like, who's it? Oh, man. Yeah, Stephen Fulton, right? They're hating on Inouye, and this guy's he flew out the weight class away from mine. Flew away.
Preemptively at that. Preemptively, because it wasn't
for no one else except Inouye. You give up your 2 straps like that, bro, without trying to use that friendly. Nah, sorry, I don't believe it, bro.
Let's put it this way. It's not like it's a secret. This whole year we knew Inouye is going to eventually go to Super Bantam. This whole year we knew the only other belt out there for him is Paul Butler. And nobody thought Paul Butler was going to win that fight. So it's like we knew all this. And if you, Stephen, okay, you knew all this and you picked now to leave when you know he's coming. You spent this whole year talking all that fly, not even all this year and a little bit of last year, because it all started last year, all that talking shit.
Right.
And now you leave when he's coming to you. Now you leave. I dig it, bro.
It's a joke, absolute joke, man. So, was the British Gassy retracted his statement? I was listening to your vid.
Oh yeah, he took it all back. It's a cockamamie explanation, but he took it all back.
It's a joke over there, man. It's an absolute joke. I'm really not looking forward to a year full of the PBC and their bullcrap. Really not looking forward to it.
I mean, I'm to the point, like, I saw the Tank fight, and I was just thinking to myself, why am I watching this WWE shit? Because that's what it feel like when I watch it. Like, I don't get that feeling that I get with a Top Rank show or a Matchroom show or a Queensberry show or a Sky show where, this is a fight. It's something weird about all they shit, really. Like, it's always some weird shit. Like
I don't get the feeling of buying a pay-per-view in the 90s. Who was 70 pounds? Where's the numbers? I know they can get where's the numbers?
All right, let me address Pop. Pop, as respectfully as I can, I want to ask you, what did MJ Akhmadaliev won his belts before Stephen Fulton? He won them from Daniel Roman. He won his belts from Daniel Roman. He won both before Stephen Fulton fought him, about 2 years before, I believe it is. Now, what I want to ask you, Pop, is what did Stephen, and I'm not saying that MJ did, I'm just asking you, you're saying that MJ avoided him. Okay, what did Stephen do in order to make the fight? Did Stephen make him an offer? That's all I want to know. Did he make him an offer? I'm not telling you that MJ made Stephen an offer. I actually blame them both. That's why I don't say that anybody ducked anybody, really, as far as those two. But when it comes to Inouye, oh yeah, I do think Stephen is ducking Inouye. Because that's
100% ducking him. 100% ducking him.
Because the difference between the MJ situation and the Inouye situation is when Inouye moves up off top, he's Stephen's mandatory by way of the WBO. He's the mandatory for a belt that Stephen already has. And he knew that he was coming. We all knew that. Nobody thought Paul Butler was going to win that fight. We all knew he was going to lose that fight. And you decide now to leave right before he about to come up to your division.
Duck.
It's convenient, bro. That's all I'm saying. Like, timing is everything. Why you leaving now to fight Brandon? The most that we all get out of that fight is we get to look at Brandon's sister. That's it.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, man. I mean, listen. The quicker the PBC go out of business, I don't care if there's anyone PBC listening. I want them out. I want them. Listen, this Malik Scott chasing AJ all around the place. How could you want so enthusiastic to make the fight when the straps were there? Now all of a sudden you want to listen, payday, trying to cash out.
That's what it but see, when it comes to Wilder and Malik and all of that, a part of me, I'm entertaining it because Wilder's 38, because the Ruiz fight really ain't that big. It's not that much money for that fight. And they don't have a lot of options for Wilder. Who mic is that? Chris, man, come on, man.
Yo, my bad, bro. I'm at the train station. I just wanted to talk a little boxing, then I'm about to head back home. I just say this about Wilder. Wilder doesn't deserve shit. Like Beats is saying, he's just chasing a payday. You were 38, right? But you had all that time to fuck around when you had the belt, right? Why the fuck should you get a payday now when it's meaningless?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this about the Wilder thing. The reason a part of me thinks that he might be serious now, where he might not have been serious before, is because he's 38. The PBC don't really got a lot of money fights for him. If he's still around, it ain't for belts, it's for money. It's obvious, and I ain't mad at that. Like, it's obvious that you want big money fights. And I feel like, look, whether you like Wilder or you don't like Wilder, Wilder versus White makes money. Yes, it makes money. If you're willing to travel, if you're willing to expand your horizons, that fight makes money. It would. It would.
But why do it as a contender when you had the fucking leverage to go there, had the preferable spit to get the money, but you just wanted to fuck it off because of what? Like literally, White was a winnable fight. Like if you really you really believe in yourself, Josh was a winnable fucking fight. How the fuck do you not go over there to get the biggest money? Like at the end of the day, Adrian Broner broke it down to him, and if he's getting paydays, how the hell are you not getting a payday as a heavyweight champion of the world? That shit don't make sense to me. You don't deserve that bread.
Now, let me read the super chat. Always a great show when these two start cooking. Boxing beats and rounds. Ring IQ. Appreciate you, Will. Appreciate you, Will. Roman says, I want to address this. Roman Boxing says, it's an easy fight for Wilder, though. White's just a gatekeeper. All I'm telling you, Roman, is irrespective of what you think he is or irrespective of what I think he is, what's relevant to the conversation is that he could make a lot of money fighting that guy. He could. That's not cap.
I was just a gatekeeper, and Wilder avoided it for 2 years. For over
yeah. And that's the point of contention. Should we look at White as a gatekeeper when it's more like, look, if he's a gatekeeper, that's all the more reason for Wilder to fight him because you could make a lot of money boxing that gatekeeper. You could.
Gatekeepers don't make that type of don't bring in that marquee value. You guys know that. He's just a dick rider. He's a dick rider.
Chizora's a gatekeeper, but he get money. He get money.
But this man fought for a portion of the heavyweight title twice. That's no gatekeeper. He's a contender, whether you like it or not. While if Dillian White's a gatekeeper, his gatekeeping ass resume is a lot better than your heavyweight former heavyweight champion.
I agree with that, and
believe that shit.
I'll die on that hill. I'll die on that hill that Dillian's resume is better than Wilder's. 100% it is. I'll die on that hill. What is Wilder's resume? Stavern.
Luis Ortiz.
Who Mike is that?
That's Chris.
He beat 3 top 10 heavyweights, having debuted as a champion in 2008. He only fought 3 top 10 fighters. He only fought 3. There were only 3 that were in the top 10 at the time that he fought them. 1 was Stavern, the WBC champion. 2 was unbeaten Luis Ortiz, right? And that was a solid win. I'm not going to take that away from him. That was a solid win the first time. The second time it was pointless. And Fury. And I'm only talking about the second Fury fight and the third Fury fight because the first time that he fought him, he wasn't in the top 10 yet. He literally wasn't. It was after the draw that Ring Magazine and TBRB and BoxRec and ESPN, that's when they put him in the top 10 after the draw. And you only fought 3 and you only beat 2. Those are the facts.
Have you noticed the pattern, right? Like, Wilder getting all hyped up. I need to fight AJ now. When he's coming off 2 losses. You wanted to fight Fury when he was coming off the 3-year gap as well. Yeah? And he blew up. You know what I mean?
It's obvious it's obvious why they chose Fury. And if anybody believes that they chose Fury for any reason other than he was thought of as a light punching, inactive, kind of just like a feather fisted guy. Who Mike is that? Breathing like that. Fury didn't have a reputation for being a puncher until the second Wilder fight. Like, if you really been watching boxing, you know Fury was not thought of as a puncher at all. He was not thought of as a puncher. No. If you thought of Fury as being an elite fighter, it was because of his boxing, because he was a very big man who could stick and move his feet and move around the ring. But he wasn't known as a puncher, and that's why Wilder fought him.
I guess we could argue that he was in, like, after the first fight, he was in transition to change his style by getting Sugar Hill in with the Kronk.
Agreed. But that was after the first fight. Remember that in between the first fight and the second fight, and I kept the screenshot in my phone for whenever I want to just pull it out to show it or use it on Twitter or whatever, that Wilder called him feather-fisted because that was his reputation. In between the first fight and the second fight, when Fury said, yo, I'm going to knock you out this time, it ain't going to be no decision, I'm going to knock you out, Wilder laughed and said, yo, this pillow-fisted dude, that's what he said. That was his words. That's his post on Twitter and Facebook. This feather-fisted dude don't be knocking nobody out. That's what he said.
And there's no room for doubt, because in the second, like the lead up to the second fight, he said, when I found you, you was a big house contemplating suicide. Like, that's not me making that up. That was Wilder's own words. He
picked him. We all know why he picked him. And it backfired, which is a conversation we've had to no end. But to Beats' point, you see what the model is, that they'll hype a guy and hype a guy and hype a guy and hype a guy. It's just hype. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just hype. With Spence, it's hype, bro. Yeah. How long did it take you to unify 3 titles? Yo, look at Josh Taylor. It didn't take him a gajillion years to become an undisputed champion.
Bruh, I think shout out, as you say, shout out to the Boxing Voice, because I watched both of those lives when he was discussing the 154 move. Funniest shit I've ever seen, when I see people, when they know they have no way to defend the move and yet they still make shit up, is the funniest thing to ever see. Because there's only like you and I and everyone who has a brain cell knows he can't make the weight. That's why he did it at 154. But instead of dropping here's the funny thing. This is not a mandatory. This is now, you went from mandatory to a voluntary fight at 154.
That's what it is.
So technically speaking, the WBC should still strip you of your belt because you did not fight him at 147.
That's what I'm saying. That they're letting him. They're basically, what I see that they're doing is they're letting him blow the weight, because they ordered you to give him a title shot. Well, you're not giving him a title shot because you're fighting him at 54. So how does that even satisfy the order of giving him that title shot? It's not even a title fight.
Did the WBA say, okay, let's look out for Spence? Or did Heyman request this?
Both. It's both, bro. We know that they got the WBA in the pocket, and they're still playing the game, which there was another guy 2 days ago that he was saying, oh, no, this is about spite. He just doesn't want to give Thurman a title shot. He'll come back to 147. I'm like, bro.
I mean, hey, you know what? You know what? As decided, I think Benavidez should be champion again back at 168. He should have just moved it to 175 75 to fight as mandatory.
That's what I said that the other day, that no WBC champion, based on the consideration that they're giving Errol Spence Jr., why should any WBC champion make the weight?
100%. Just move up the weight class.
You're letting Errol defend a title at 54, except he's not actually defending a title.
If you look at it, right? If you go from welterweight to, you got Jamal was light middle champ, but Spence, Garcia, Porter, none of them have jumped up and challenged for the light middle title. Not one of them.
And they act like he has the greatest resume that was ever a resume in the history of resumes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's unified. Oh my God.
Even though half of his freaking wins are just leftovers from Keith Thurman, but we don't talk about that.
Right. That's the point.
I said, and I've long maintained this, the crown jewel of Errol Spence Jr.'s resume is Kell Brook. Why? Brook beat Porter, Porter beat Ugas and Garcia. So the best fighter you ever fought was a damaged goods Kell Brook. Because
this was right after the Triple G fight?
Right after the Triple G.
Yeah.
It's a damaged goods Brook. Simple as. And Brook, great fighter that he might have been, I always maintain he didn't get to lift to his potential at welterweight because people wouldn't fight him. There were people who wouldn't fight him. When Brook was still IBF champion, unbeaten, before the Golovkin fight, who was Thurman calling out? Wasn't Brook. It was fucking Malignaggi. And after Malignaggi and all that, don't thug me, thing. Then who he worried about? Danny Garcia.
Yeah, Kell would have messed that Keith up. Kell would have messed Keith up, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So the idea, if you look at how much time has really been wasted, because I look at this entire cycle of welterweights, has been a waste of time. The whole thing, like really though, like he won his first title in 2017. We in 2023, you still not undisputed, bro. Do you know how many undisputed champions have come and gone? Clarissa done been undisputed 3 times. 3 times.
Usyk became undisputed and unified.
He knew he undisputed. Hadn't do his 4th weight. You know what I'm saying? Josh Taylor, undisputed.
Yep.
Crawford, undisputed. Because we're talking 2017, right? All right, you won your first belt in 2017. In that time, about 5 or 6 undisputed champions have been crowned. About 5 or 6. Taylor, Shields, Usyk, Inoue, Crawford, Taylor, Josh Taylor. About 5, that's 6. And you still on this quest.
Listen, Anthony Joshua isn't burdened by the belts. Anthony Joshua needs to prep to get back in the title picture and reign. You don't jump to, you ain't got no mandatories, right? You take this your step back fight, you take your comeback fight, and then you select and you fight when you're ready. Don't give no one no payday, bro.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Do you guys, Beats and Ring, and Jules, do you guys remember back, I think it was right around the time where Crawford did like face-to-face with Spence. What does Spence say? Oh yeah, Al Heyman has my entire fight plan mapped out for me. And he asked him, is my name in there? No, it's not. And everything went damn near the way Al Heyman said it was going to go.
And even with that, if you tell, like, you can literally show people that video where he said that, like, he said that word for word, that they mapped out 3 or 4 fights for him, and the whole time you can show people that and they'll still be like, no, it's forbidding it. No, it's forbidding it. All right, if it's forbidding it, who the fuck do you think wants to see Keith Thurman? He didn't sell shit his last pay-per-view. Crawford's pay-per-view, his last one, sold more. I'm talking about Avanesian. I ain't even talking about Porter. Crawford's pay-per-view on Black Prime sold more than Thurman versus Barrios. No cap.
The only difference between the plan and what happened was that Ugas beat Pacquiao, and that was the only change. Everything else went verbatim.
Can I stop the stream for 2 seconds, right? This is really important. I only see 56 likes, 173 people on there. So it needs to get up to, at least a oneer. At least a oneer. That's what I believe.
Let me read the super chat. Appreciate your Beats. Speak Your Mind Sports Talk says, shout out to my man Speak Your Mind. Ain't see you in a while. What up, Jay? Just stopping through to show love. Keep doing your thing, family. Best in the business. Anybody here not subscribed, do it now. I appreciate you, Speak Your Mind. Let me read Pop before I pass it to Devontae. We need to get rid of these frauds in boxing. Canelo, Triple G, Munguia, Jamal, and Spence. I'm gonna agree with you on Triple G does need to go. I'm not going to disagree with that. I kind of do feel that, because if he doesn't leave, those titles are going to stay tied up. Munguia, I feel like Munguia versus Xander Zayas could be a very big fight 3 years from now. So I'd keep him. Jamal, yeah, and Spence. Get rid of those guys.
Man, look, Triple G, they've got Triple G. The PBC are making Triple G look like a don. Triple G's in his 40s, right? And you can't displace this guy out of a title shot for Canelo, right? That means you've been sleeping on the job.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Go ahead, Devontae.
All right. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a picture circulating before the New Year was out about Spence. Everybody was like, oh, he's blowing up in weight or whatever. There was some of his people in there, saying, oh, no, I seen him in the gym, yada, yada, yada. This guy was never going to make 147 again. If you go back and look throughout, the undisputed, I call it the undisputed era, it didn't take guys a long time to go undisputed. Once Bud Crawford got that WBO belt, Spence never wanted to be undisputed again.
I agree.
Never wanted to be undisputed again.
I agree, and it all dates back to the press conference where he had the blue shirt with the tight ass chain. He had like the little Long Island chain that is wild tight around the collar when he was saucy. That if you get on a podium and you start trashing an opponent the way that he did, it's because you're trying to convince people why you shouldn't have to fight him. You telling them, yo, he ain't beat nobody. He ain't beat nobody better than Chris Algieri. Bro, who you think believe that shit? You think that Chris Algieri was better than him beating Gamboa? Than him beating Ray Beltran? You know, Ray Beltran, after Crawford beat him, he won a title again. What the fuck has Danny done since you beat him? What the fuck did Sean do? What the fuck did Brooke do since you beat him? If we're going to talk like that, because Ray Beltran became a champion after Crawford beat him. Ricky Burns became a champion again after Crawford beat him. You know what I mean?
People be sleeping on Julius Ndongo, man. That was a hell of a fight for those people who, again, who think his entire career was at 147. Again,
it's like the whole thing is just childish, and it is that they are brainwashed, which is why I've noticed it the last, I'll say, week, that there's been a lot of infighting and instability, and guys are getting volatile because they're not arguing boxing anymore because they attach their egos to this Spence shit. It's like, bro, you the dickhead that was hyping them up for 4 years. You could go back to a video, and I might post it in the community tab, that I did. Really, it's 5 years ago because it's from 2018. And I'm going to post it in the community tab, and you'll see I've been saying the same thing for 5 years. I told you this would happen. I told you. This dude don't want to fight. He never wanted to fight. But guys attach their egos and live vicariously through these fighters. It's like, bro, you just want him to be something that he ain't. I'm sorry, but he not that guy. Never was.
Around 2018, I was in a bit of a denial. I said, nah, there's no way Errol would duck Crawford. And then, you know, I think shortly after that, I said, damn, he don't want to smoke. Don't want to smoke.
The way he was talking about Bud, it was like he was trying to convince people in the audience why he shouldn't fight him. And then when they actually met later on and they were face to face, if you just, I don't know, at least for me, like I said, I'm looking at a guy, he don't want that fight, man. He don't want that fight. Like, he was trying
to fight Crawford Friend, and, you know, he pulled up on Crawford Friend before he actually got sassy with Crawford, you know. Like, as an undisputed champion, Terrence Crawford, Josh Taylor, they don't care what your resume said. They just wanted to fight you for the belt and become undisputed. All that other stuff is, you know.
Yeah, man.
Like, I mean, you got Tank Davis. I'm the champ.
Without the belts beats, without fighting Devin, and that's the other thing, that you got people. How do you really violate Devin when Devin did it the right way? Like, nah, if I gotta go to Australia to get him, then I'm gonna get him. And if I gotta do it twice, all right, I'll do it twice. And he about to give us the Lomachenko fight, the one that Gervonta Davis was supposed to have before Devin even won a belt of any kind of interim, whatever. That was supposed to be Davis' homework, and he never did it.
Right. Fake champ.
Like,
I can't stand him, man. I can't stand him.
Well, good news, Beats, is realistically speaking, because now, like I said this since this was announced, since he's now, like, real talk, this is his career at 154 now, he doesn't have that, like all buzz is going to die for him because there's not that much, like, name value at 154. And that's not to say, like, it's a bad division. There are some good fights there, but the name value's not there. Because the issue is, real talk, like it or not, your name was originally with Keith Thurman, and congratulations, you're going to get that out the way. But for the last 4.5 or going on 5 years, your name is associated with Crawford and his with yours. If that fight doesn't happen, like even your own fans are starting to look at you weird, man. Your own fans don't like the move to 154 of Thurman.
I'll say, like, the only thing semblant of a money fight, because obviously Jermel's not going to fight him, the only fight that I think that you could put on that would draw a lot of fucking people, just a lot. I don't know, maybe Errol Spence versus Tim Tszyu at Marvel Stadium, because Tim Tszyu has a really big following down there. And if you brought a fight like that down there, it would be big. It would be an event. Here, it's any other fight. In America, that is any other fight, bro.
He ain't traveling to Australia.
Yeah, that's
and that's the point that I was going to allude to, that because you're not going to travel, you know, you're not, you know, so it's just like, bro, what are you doing that anybody should be interested in you?
See, that's the thing. If Stephan went to fight Inoue, where's the bag?
In Japan.
Not here.
Okay.
And that's the other thing that you tell a lot of American fight fans that kid is worth, like, he fights on Amazon in Japan. That guy's worth a lot of fucking money. Like, just period. He's worth a lot of fucking money. And the most money at or around these weights is Inui. So if you believe in yourself and you believe in your boxing, you move like Devin. Devin believed in himself. I'll beat this guy anywhere on the planet. Australia, America, I don't give a shit. And he still believes in himself. He's fighting Lomachenko in May. That's the date I was given, for those that don't know. That's the date I was given. May. That's when they're going to do that fight.
Okay. That's after Ramadan, yeah?
After Ramadan. And I said it already that, look, I like Devin whether he win that fight or he lose that fight. He lose that fight, I'm still going to be a fan of him because he gave me the fight. Gervonta didn't give me the fight. He didn't give me the fight. He give me shit.
I don't care if you lose. You give me the fight, I'm still a fan. Until like, you know what I mean, like you can't throw punches literally because you've regressed that far. I don't care if you lose.
Beats, I think that's something I've picked up on the PBC side of things, and this is not, well, actually this is relatively exclusive to them. They won't put the fighters in any fights for like consecutively unless they lose already. That's one thing I've been noticing.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I wouldn't be surprised if now that Rashidi Ellis lost, he'll get 2, 3, 4 fights a year because now they don't give a shit.
Well, also, wait a minute now. Don't forget that Chris Colbert hasn't even fought since the Hector Garcia fight, bro. Gary hasn't fought since the goddamn Maxayo fight. Maxayo didn't fought, but
he lost, didn't he? Didn't Maxayo lost?
He fucking lost to Ray Vargas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, shit. I think they might shelf him. Look, Stefan Espinoza said something to Drew. Shout out to Drew. He said something about 23 shows this year. That's what he said. And Drew asked him, what number of those shows are going to be pay-per-views. Obviously, he didn't get an answer. But it's like that network, I don't think they're equipped to accommodate that many fighters, which is why they're going to resort to putting a lot of these fights on pay-per-view in all likelihood. And I don't think they can afford to keep all these guys busy because you have guys that were fighting on Fox that are now going to go to Showtime. But for the last 3 or 4 years or whatever since that deal, they were on Fox. Now Showtime has to find a way to accommodate all these guys. And in all likelihood, it's going to be by stuffing a lot of them fights on pay-per-view. And a lot of them shits is pay-per-view worthy. Look at the card they're about to do. I feel that Jeremiah Ponce, for example, that fight that should have happened last year, it should have happened last year. That should have been the co-main event. If you weren't going to make Rashidi Ellis versus Jaron Boots Ennis as the co-main event, the Gervonta's fight, what you should have then did was, okay, can we put a title fight on there? We got Jeremiah Ponce, we got Subriel Matias. That's going to be a good fight, but people don't know them. So let people get to know them and put them as the co-main event to the main event. It is a title fight. It's for the IBF. It's a title fight. Nah, you want to make that a standalone show as if anybody's going to fucking watch that shit except me.
Right.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing over there.
Yeah. It's total incompetence. Total incompetence. Why are they doing it so bad? Like what are they doing that bad? Like
something that they did went wrong is what I gather from how they move. I believe that a part of what went wrong, for example, DAZN disrupted the market in the American market. Steve Kim said this. Shout out to Steve. Steve said when DAZN debuted in America, they disrupted the market. So you had a lot of promotional outfits giving fighters exclusivity deals and contract guarantees to keep them on their side of things. But as a result of that, that led to gradual overspending because they didn't want those fighters floating to other platforms. So that's one thing that might have hurt Showtime that a lot of people don't talk about, and they're not realizing that, that when they debuted in America, that made things harder. Even though I said it, this is going to make things harder for the promoters here, but it'll be better for us, the consumers, because we'll get more content. That's one thing. The other thing is that look at what happened with Showtime and Wilder. DAZN offers this man $20 million as part of a $100 million package or $120 million package to do the Joshua fight, and they were willing to give him $20 million for Brazil. And Showtime, to keep him there, to keep that fight there, they gave him like, I think, 14 or 15, whatever it is, just for him to end up going to Fox.
Yeah, they didn't bankroll the dominant Brazil fight, though. They played him.
It's like he played them, Shelley played them, and Al Heyman played them, because here you have Showtime giving you all this money to keep Wilder on the platform, but the very next fight after that, where did he end up? He ended up on Fox, and he's been on Fox ever since. All his fights have been on Fox ever since.
Right. Yeah, that's the point.
something that they did is it was a couple of bad moves that they made. Tack on that Errol Spence Jr. got into that car accident. I know that car accident wasn't part of the fucking plan. Get him getting. I'm just saying that on their dry erase board where they're mapping out the future of their company and what fights are going to get made. I don't think Errol being sidetracked from October of 2019 till all the way at the end of 2020. I don't think that was part of the plan. I don't think. And then the eye injury not last year, but the year before that. That also was not part of the plan. And those are all things that hurt his marquee value because he's not fighting. You can say whatever you want. You can, rationalize it however you want, but it hurt his marquee value that he wasn't fighting. He didn't fight most of 2020. Not that many people could, but he still didn't fight. And he didn't fight at all in 2021 either. He didn't fight.
Man, I never forget Jim Gray after was it the Brazil? What fight was it?
It was the Brazil fight.
Yeah, I never forget that, man. And Wilder couldn't believe, like, he scored that big knockout, and he thought, yeah, this guy's going to praise him. No, we want to see some real shit when the straps were there. How are you chasing down AJ? What do you have? Like, when Fury called him out, at least he had a WBC. You don't have nothing, bro. You don't have none. AJ's going to get back on his feet in his own time. All right? It doesn't matter if you want to say he's ducking. You can scream that people are desensitized to that because you've been saying that for years. No one cares.
Yeah, no one cares.
Well, you got to understand, Beats. Only the green belt matters, remember? Only the green belt. Everything. That's right. The big fish belt right there.
Look at the stands in the go. And this is really what kills me because this is like how I really can gauge that most of the populace in America that consumes boxing is really, really fucking stupid. Wilder's highest purse when Eddie Hearn first approached him was around $2 million. He had not yet been on pay-per-view. That didn't come till much later.
Right.
$2 million was his highest purse. Eddie offered him 12. That is 6 times your highest purse. You spat on that. And I'm like, okay. You want a percentage. They offered you a percentage. They offered you $15 million guaranteed at 30%. You said no. They offered you $15 million guaranteed at 35%. You said no. They come back around. They offer you $100 million to fight this guy. 2-way rematch clause. Transatlantic fight. And they had already done that with the 2 offers that I just mentioned. They said, okay, your gripe was that we didn't give you a rematch clause. We'll give you a rematch clause. We'll give you 2 transatlantic fights. One in the UK, one in the US, because that was a part of the things that he said that he wanted. They gave him that. He still didn't accept the offer. They offered him $100 million. He still didn't accept the offer. And you still have Americans running with this narrative that, yeah, they didn't want to fight. They didn't want to fight.
I think the most disingenuous thing that this again, I'm not trying to single out American consumers, but the reality is American consumers in particular were really stupid in that fight because they had the audacity to believe in their mind that little peanut that's up there that AJ and Deontay Wilder had the same marquee value. Absolute ludicrousy.
It was lunacy, and thank you, Ivo, because that's what I was getting at, that they were never on the same pay scale. Anthony Joshua at 15-0 was in a place where he could give someone $7 million. Who am I talking about? Charles Martin. He gave him $7 million to voluntarily defend his title in the United Kingdom. Wilder wasn't making that kind of money at that time. He was not making that kind of money. $7 million would have been a career high purse for Wilder at that time.
Yeah, well, because a lot of guys are great or have a big following in England. I mean, like AJ and Dylan White. I mean, Wilder would have to go to England for those fights, and he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to not say that again. Still, I'm going to hold by my words that Dylan White's a gatekeeper, man. I mean, he looked like crap against Franklin. I don't care what anybody says. Like Dick Ryder from that was in the subway. He didn't look good against Franklin. He can't stop.
I'll give you this because this is my thing. Do I think that he looked good with Franklin? I saw differences in things that he does. He used the cross guard. He was able to defend against uppercuts. He's never been able to defend against uppercuts. Every single time he got knocked out, it was by an uppercut. In that fight with Franklin, Franklin shot the uppercut a couple of times, and because he was using a cross guard, it didn't land. It landed on his arms. So I see the little things that Buddy did that might help. But if he didn't look great in that fight, I'm not going to jump to conclusions because he had just got knocked out earlier this year. It's not going to look great.
I know,
right
but
away.
it's against Franklin, though, Julius. It's against who's Franklin?
That's a good point. I'm not going to take that. That's a good point. But who was De Los Santos before he beat Rayo? Who was Cambosos before he beat Teofimo? You see what I mean?
Yeah, but how old is White now? What is he, 35?
Yeah, I
33?
think he's like 35. I do think he's in his mid-30s. I know he's in his mid-30s. I just don't know if he's 33 or 35. But yeah, he is. But that's not old for a heavyweight.
Yeah.
Wilder's 38 and he's still going.
Yeah, that's not old for a heavyweight. Like if we were talking about like a middleweight or somebody like that, or one of those little guys like a welterweight or a lightweight, then I'd say, yeah, you kind of up there in age. But 30-something for a heavyweight? Bro. Fucking Tony Thompson was still running around here.
Remember,
well into his 40s.
Remember, Foreman came back in his 40s and was in one.
Yeah, but
the goddamn title at 46.
Yeah, but the last thing though about heavyweight power is the last thing to go, and that's why.
Yeah, definitely.
And Wilder has that power. Dylan White is more of a volume guy. I wouldn't say that he's the one punch knockout guy.
Once upon a time, he was called the body snatcher because he had good body shots. Sadly, I don't see that in him now.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say once upon a time.
Yeah.
That is true, though. Him and Joseph Parker used to be body punchers in 2016.
And they were good at it, too.
And they were good body punchers, but I think somebody hit them with some shit, and they just decided, I'm not going to do that anymore.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's kind of like Anthony after his first loss. Like you remember after his loss to Ruiz, he started playing differently. Like his entire focus went from boxer puncher to more of a pure boxer. But again, you see, here's the thing that gets me about AJ. And I like AJ. He is physically blessed with a good frame, good reach, just physically a specimen. Yeah, he's a specimen and a half. And it gets me. It's just like you look at AJ when he was coming up again. Like for example, my favorite fight from AJ still is the Klitschko fight. I love that fight, even though I was rooting for Klitschko and he lost. I love that fight because AJ came in there with like a man who had nothing to lose. Now I don't have to say because we've talked about AJ and just his like mental scenario and everything going on.
He doesn't commit to his punches. Like if you watch them come up, those fights leading up to the Klitschko fight, he used to try to kill a guy, man. Like
he did. He was a ferocious kid. He was a ferocious
guy's head off.
I think this new trainer situation is going to be good for him. I have a feeling it might be because that's what I think he needs. I don't think he was ever the same after the AJ shocking the Ruiz loss that he had. I think that may have changed him a little bit as a boxer or something because he's just not the same as he was. So
but also,
I think he didn't need to do training.
You have to factor in that look. I agree that he wasn't the same, but why? If he would have got to fight, say, Pulev and then an Otto Valine, or Pulev and then a Dempsey McKean, or Pulev and then a Hrgovic, and he knocks those guys out, fight by fight, he regains his confidence. But between the second Ruiz fight and the Usyk fight, the first one, all he did was Pulev. You went from really, like Pulev was a top 10 guy, and that's cool. But once you had Usyk in front of you, you was back in the shit. You're back in the shit, bro. Like this is not a guy that you just, I'm just gonna walk over him. No, not this fucking guy.
I would also like to add, him fighting once a year did not help.
Oh yeah, that definitely did.
That did not
fighting once a year for 3 years.
Yeah,
once a year for 3 fucking years, man.
And this is something like. It's just something that people really like. You not like fighting once a year. Look, I get it, man. If you're the big guy, people want to fight you. You don't always want to fight people. But in that same breath, like, dude, you have to be a well-oiled machine in this level of competition.
You really do.
Like that's one thing. That's one thing why. That's another reason why I'm like again to hop it back onto Spence and Keith. Like I'm not hyped for that fight. They haven't fought in a year and some months specifically for Thurman. So it's like they're not going to be well oiled. Look at even one of my favorite fighters. Like I do like Loma. I do like his style is very like aesthetically nice to look at.
Loma
didn't
sit out for no fucking reason. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
Keith, really though, why did you sit out most of last year. You couldn't fight Stanionis. You couldn't fight Boots. You couldn't do no. You couldn't find no. You know what I could have went for? Thurman versus Butaev. Can you give me that? No, not even that.
Well, here's another thing. People like to bring up in Keith Thurman's position, like, oh, he only lost to Manny Pacquiao. Fine, let's pretend he did. He has not rebounds from that. Realistically speaking, you lost to Pacquiao. You went on a stint of inactivity for about, 2 years? Then you hopped off after 2 years and went straight into fighting Barrios, and then you sit out for another year. You have not recouped your... Like, I still don't know where you stand. Like, I can't even call you a gatekeeper because gatekeepers are semi-active.
Well, let's say this. Derek Chisora is more active than Keith Thurman.
Exactly. And he's got, like, losses in the double digits. He's got, like, 14 losses. I love that dude.
And he's almost 40 years old.
Honestly. And he's in there with really good guys. That's the other thing. That look, he was in there with good guys. Like, yeah, he was in there with a former champion in Joseph Parker. He's just in there with Tyson Fury. He was just in there with an Olympian. For those that don't know, Pulev is an Olympian. He's not just random Bulgarian guy they call when they need to fight. That dude has a pedigree, has a background. And you look at Keith and you say, oh, well, he only has one loss. Bro, if he would have been out here these last 3 years fighting instead of... The last 3 years he fought once. But if the last 3 years consisted of Virgil Ortiz, Eimantas Stanionis, Jaron Boots Ennis, bro, he'd have about 4 losses right now.
He's got what?
Oh, yeah.
Three fights in 6 years. I mean, think about that. He fought Danny, and then he was off for 2 years. Then he fought Manny, and then again he was off. Well, he fought Josecino Lopez, and then he fought Manny, and then he was off for another 2-3 years ago.
Another 2 years, exactly. It was 2 years after he lost to Manny.
Listen, you could go from Jamal, right? There's a few fighters like Spence. If they were doing what they were supposed to be doing, they'd all have 2-3 losses on their record. Easily.
Yeah. And believe it or not, like I always bring this up. I said that this was in 2018. 2018 or the beginning of 2019. I said, unfortunately, because AJ fights people, he may lose because he's willing to fight people. And then the value of the fight with Wilder, because this was during that conversation, the value of the fight may diminish, that one or both of them will lose because, Wilder, the bell tolls for thee. You want to stay on easy street. That catches up. But AJ, he may lose before Wilder because he's willing to fight people. And, I don't hold that against him. Like I said, I'm still a fan of the guy. 3 losses in, I'm still a fan of that guy. That guy's fights are entertaining. He gives you what you want to see. You want to see him fight Usyk? He'll give it to you. You know what I mean? He's that guy. But that's where we at. They're like, yo, dog, like, I don't know why certain promoters or why certain managers think that you can really play the waiting game. You could lose at any minute in this sport. At any minute. And it'll be a fucking guy that you're supposed to beat. Was Rayo really supposed to lose to De Los Santos? Was Colbert really supposed to lose to Hector Garcia? No.
I mean, this applies to all sports, man. Look at UFC, the pound for pound guy Usman. He lost.
Yep.
And no one thought he was gonna lose. Like, he was hailed as like the second coming. Like, even Anderson Silva lost. So it's like,
motherfuckers fucking lose. And
exactly.
And
if you're in this game long enough, it happens.
And you see Spence, and it's like, yo, dog, y'all moved heaven and earth to make this Thurman fight. Like, you really did. Last year in November, even though Eimantas Stanionis was already in position, and the thing was, he was willing to step aside if a Crawford fight was going to happen. But when he saw that fight didn't happen, he petitioned the WBA to go next in October. In November, TGB says, yo, we want Keith. And the WBA goes with it. Sure, yeah, I know we got a mandatory in the queue, but sure, go ahead. Keith is next. And it's like, y'all do everything to protect this dude, bro.
Everything.
They protect a lot of guys. It's not just
I'm very interested to see how the pay-per-view numbers look for Keith Thurman versus Spence fight, because personally speaking, Keith only did like 77K against Barrios, and some people are gonna make bullshit excuses, whatever. Like, let's say that did 100K. Like, realistically speaking, like, what did you tell me Ugas's fight was like 100 and something thousand? What'd you tell me?
Look, the number that's out
Your
there.
source, sorry.
The number that's out there is just north of 200,000. But the number I was told was 170.
All right, so let's add together those numbers. You get like 300,000. So, like, depending on the guarantees, because Keith's going to want like 2-3 mil. Spence is going to get like 3 or 5 mil, or however much. It's like, again, The only fight that fans of the welterweight division wanted was was Spence versus Crawford.
It is. It's like for me it's difficult because I know that look, I can purchase the pay-per-view and then I'll flip the pay-per-view by doing a live stream. Not only will I get the money that I paid out for the pay-per-view back, but I will also make a profit. So that's what kind of keeps me buying fights that maybe I don't want them, but I can make the money back and then some. But for the average consumer who is not streaming, who is not a content creator, that they're not doing that. They're looking at that fight and they're like, and Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis is supposed to be happening that same month. If they have to choose, I'm 100% sure they're going to choose Davis versus Garcia over that shit if they have to choose, because nobody was asking for that shit.
Look,
Nobody's asking for Thurman.
I'm a boxing fan. I've been a boxing fan for 25 years now, and the reality is a lot of these like pay-per-views on PBC. I would rather use that money for anything else. Because $80 is a lot of money. Say what you will, $80, especially on like a busy month of boxing, we have multiple fights, some from Top Rank, some from the Zone, some from PBC. Despite like me not being the biggest fan of like Top Rank, I still buy Top Rank fights because at least I know I get good boxing matches out of them. Not Ruiz versus Ortiz, not Helenius versus Wilder.
The only reason you might see me purchase sometimes, like I purchased Crawford versus Avanesian. One, to support him because that's still my guy. I put my money where my mouth is. But two, you got to understand, I make that money back and then some just by watching it live. So it's almost like it's free to me almost, because it's like, yeah, I'm going to watch it. I'll buy it and I'll watch it and I'll stream, but I make the money back and then some. So, you know what I mean? But the average guy, do I really want to pay for this? All this inflation, this economy. Do you think that people really want to pay?
And then they put these crap boxing matches up. Nobody wants to see and there's actually fights that could be made at PBC. There are good matchups possibly. If Spence moves up to fight at 157, he can fight, Mel, but that's not going to happen.
Exactly. He's not going to fucking fight. And that's a good point, that there are fights that have been there that they could have made that would have been good fights, like Gary Russell versus Leo Santa Cruz, like Jared Hurd versus Jermel Charlo, Plant versus Benavidez. Yeah, you're making it now, but you could have made it in 2019. And what did Samson say? No, we wait a few fights, a couple title defenses. It's worth more money.
Has that fight even been official yet? That matchup? Has that even been
Yo, they that I thought they were going to announce that shit during the Davis card?
They announced at the end of October. It's still not a full.
So until shit happens, shit ain't happened yet with that fight.
Was good, Michael.
Yo, it was good, man. I just want to say, the level of dick riding, I've never seen this. This is on par with Kanye West fans. Like, this is crazy, yo.
For real. No, yes.
These guys don't even know Errol. They will take a bullet for this guy.
They will die for this dude, bro. Look at the dude yesterday, because I said I'm not excited. Bro. Because I said I'm not excited about Thurman versus Spence. Look at how low he was willing to go.
Dude, he went all the way to your family and shit. I'm like, why? Like, what? I thought we were talking boxing. You cannot justify satisfying. Yo, if you think about it, he has to fight Thurman twice.
He should.
That's not a satisfied mandatory at welterweight.
Dude, that's what I said earlier on in this live. This is not a mandatory. This is now a voluntary fight at 154. This should theoretically not satisfy your mandatory at 147.
Okay, so we're getting 2 Thurman fights. That's what we're getting.
Shit.
Fuck it.
You think? Here's one thing that I saw. Mofos are putting this fight, like, this is one of the stupidest hot takes I've ever seen in boxing fan, like, from boxing fans since I've been on YouTube. Mofo said that this fight happening, if you're not happy with it, blame Crawford. What? What the fuck does Crawford have to do with this fight?
Crawford at least defended his fucking title, at least.
That's the other angle of it. They're basically trying to say that this is Crawford's fault. It's a byproduct of that. When I'm like, yo, wait a minute, though. If Spence wanted to spin the block, you telling me that they wouldn't let him? They're literally letting him go to 154 without stripping him. But so if you wanted to spin the block, you could spin the fucking block.
But he doesn't do tune-up fights, so why can't he spin the block? right now.
Fuck.
Bro,
Yo,
and look,
right now,
Napoli
profit
hit the
free.
nail on the head. Spence fans are Dallas. Yes, they are. That's exactly what they are. They're Dallas Cowboys fans.
They're both from Dallas.
And another thing I want to bring up. Look, with all respect to Keith Thurman and what you once did, funny enough, I still think of the current era of welterweights, you technically did the most because you fought most of the people who Spence beat. With that in mind, with all respect, as you are right now, from how you've looked in your last 2 fights and your inactivity for 4 years, bro, anyone saying that Keith Thurman is a 10 times better fighter than Avanesian, you are smoking the good shit.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you the truth, and to some, this will be like a hot take, but I know Beats won't think this is a hot take. I would pick David Avanesian before the Crawford fight to beat Keith Thurman. Why? 3 years ago, Keith Thurman damn near got knocked out in the 7th round with Josecito Lopez,
right.
who's a blown-up 140-pounder.
With losses.
Exactly. I'm like, bro, you went life or death with that guy. What fucking time machine are we in where Keith Thurman is still an elite guy? No, he not. Elite guys don't fight once in 3 years.
Right.
Look, with all respect, like, look, let's look at the last 3 fights, at least 4 fights. Look, all I know is Avanesian had a hell of a performance against Josh Kelly, who was supposed to win that fight by most people's accounts. So,
yeah, that's true.
like, look, the only people, and here's the thing, the only people that people like to shun Avanesian, the only people he lost to was Mean Machine and Lamont Peterson beforehand. And I think all the way back in like 09, it was like Klimov.
Wait, Avo, let me stop you because this is the other thing, and this is the curse of having a good memory. The same fan base that is rooting Spence on right now, here where we are, they were the ones who said that Manny Pacquiao was finished, that he looked old opposite the ring, Jeff Horn. They were the ones that were saying that. Look old and finished and he's done. That they were the ones that were saying that. But as soon as Spence was about to fight him, oh my God.
Well, keep in mind, Ugas, Jules, I don't have to tell you this, but you know, Ugas's claim to fame was beating an already beaten 40-something, 2 years out of retirement, Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, Manny Pacquiao.
Exactly.
So, again, like anyone saying, and first off, Ugas lost to Sean Porter. You have to understand how much of like a backstep it is in the welterweight division right now. You are fighting people who you've already, who better competition you've already have beaten years ago.
Bro, listen, Ugas lost before he lost to fucking Sean Porter.
I
They
know.
fucking talk about this guy like he's like this, oh my God, it's Jordanis Ugas. No, bro, he was never that dude, bro.
Yeah, and he hurt Spence, if you remember that fight, too.
Made his mouthpiece go flying at the speed of light.
Let me read these super chats. I hope someone will have the guts to ask that Snake Espinoza why he screwed so many fighters out of a living. Many PBC fighters have lost out on so much time waiting to fight that it should be a crime. And that's why Adrian Broner broke away. That's why that's literally what Adrian Broner said. They're like, yo, they keep pushing back dates and guys can't fight for a year or 2. He literally said that.
Killing your favorite fighters and you guys still support this bullshit, yo. Boycott PBC. I've been saying it for a year now.
And just to talk a little mad shit about Ugas, bro, this is the same Ugas that lost to Johnny Garcia and Emmanuel Robles. And this was before Sean Porter. And he lost to Sean Porter. But now he's fighting Errol Spence. He was a killer.
And he went the distance with Manny. Don't forget.
He did. He went the distance with Manny. It was a UD.
Let me read the super chats. They're piling up. I was goody country. Sup, Jules and panel and chat. 2 things. In regards to Ben, why hasn't anybody mentioned the UCAT investigation? I did a video about that. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. And according to Eddie Hearn, he can fight. They're just waiting for the WBC's ruling. He also asked, how is Ramirez blasting Tio Haney while ducking Regis? It's kind of self-explanatory. He wants to stay on easy street. He wants to fight guys that used to be lightweights. He's never wanted it with Regis. He still doesn't want it with Regis. And you know how I feel about that. He's a fucking hypocrite.
I'll tell you what, yeah? You see Ramirez, yeah? If there was someone easy to take that strap, even at 35%, he would have took the fight.
I agree. Right? I agree.
Let me just with the sanctioned bodies, right? How do you have at 147? You got 2 interim champions, right? You've got Ortiz. The contenders are hot there, right? Mm-hmm. You let this guy mess around at 154 to do what? Come on, man.
I'm going to answer that. Let me read this. Hyam says, Jules, who you got, Ajagba or Shaw? Drop a link if you can. I got you right now. I'm going to be real with you. I haven't seen too much of Shaw, but I've heard good things. I've heard good things about Shaw, so I don't know who to pick in that
Honestly,
fight.
not bad. He's not bad.
I heard good things about him, so I don't know who to pick in that fight because Ajagba, who I am familiar with, outside of the straight 1-2, he doesn't show much variety in terms
He's
of
big
shot
and
selection.
he's slow as shit too.
I could deal with him being slow if he would show me a nice left hook or a nice uppercut, but it's really just the jab in the right hand with him.
Oh.
So
There was also one more thing I wanted to get at. God bless the PBC schooling system. Their schooling system is top of the line because the mofo Ugas could not speak English this year. Early last year. Now he speaks. He writes better paragraphs than I do.
He's writing essays now about Terrence Cruise.
Bro, he's writing a whole ass eulogy.
And the funny thing is, he used the word lad. That can only be two things. Either someone wrote that for you, someone from the UK, they wrote that for you, or you have your settings in your phone set to UK English. That's the only way you can reconcile him using the word lad. Because I know Ugas ain't from motherfucking Leeds, right?
Wait,
Ain't from Leeds.
you telling me you never heard Ugas's famous saying "top of the morning" to your laddies? You're telling me you never heard of Ugas's famous "once upon a time" saying?
But that's another extension of what we usually see. You know, like for example, Fulton is moving up to feather, and now he wants to start smearing MJ. He's not really saying a lot about Inui, but he is smearing MJ that, oh, we could have fought. Well, did you make him an offer? And you see what happened with Wilder and AJ and the smear campaign that they ran against him. And now it's just the same thing that like, oh, we're going to get Ugas to say A, B, C, and D. When Adrian Broner said months ago, them guys ain't getting no guarantee. Before the news broke, before they even argued on Twitter and confirmed it, Adrian Broner been said, yo, they don't got no money to give them guarantees. That's what he said, bro. I'm just quoting him.
And shot.
Sorry, Smokey. There ain't no part up north of England where they don't say lad. They don't say lad up there. Right? Hey, listen, we're gonna let Wilder, you have to fight Andy. You know what I mean? Beat Andy, you know, when you come see AJ, maybe whenever he's ready, then you can come see us.
Yeah, but the shit is Malik Scott is saying that there's a mystery opponent. I did a video about it yesterday, that he's saying there's a mystery opponent that basically is a bigger opponent, like a bigger name than Andy, and that can only be so many people.
It's the Ortiz trilogy. I'm calling it now.
Nah, bro.
It's Charles Martin.
Who else could it be? It literally can't be.
AJ, there's a bigger opponent, dude.
It has to be Andy. That's his biggest fight that he could get.
Nah, if we're saying that there's an opponent out there, not named Fury, not named Usyk, not named Joshua, that's a bigger name than Ruiz, the only person I can think of,
Frankie Sanchez.
Easily. Nah, the only person I can think of is Dillian White or Joe Joyce. Those two fights will get you a lot of money, but obviously one is more risky than the other. So I'm going to go with Dillian White.
And you got to go to England.
Man, it's neither.
You know? I mean, that's where
man.
the fans will come out for that.
I'm telling you that
Neither
White versus Wilder in the UK makes a lot of money. I'm telling you.
Wilder's not going to go there. He's just not going to go to.
But if you Wilder, you're 38 years old. You have 9 surgeries to the same arm. You had 2 really bad fights where you got hit a lot, right? And you look at White and you say, yo, y'all really going to give me like 15, 20 mil for him? Yeah, I'm going. Fuck that.
Hey, maybe Dubois. Maybe a Dubois fight.
Maybe
because even if it's a robbery on like Frank Warren show, I don't think that fight goes to the scorecards.
Dubois ain't no name out here, bro. Like people think, he ain't a name out here.
Yeah, but you see how he looked with Kevin Lorena.
Yeah.
You see, like if you Wilder and Shelly Finkel said a couple of months ago, I did a video on it. He said he was talking to Frank because you know they cool, and he's like, yo, I would like to put Wilder in there with Dubois.
And that's a very winnable fight.
Exactly. I think again, Wilder's money quarterback, man. He sat out for two. He watched Fury. He watched Fury sit down, for 2 years. He comes back out of retirement and he says, "Oh, I want to cherry pick Fury," and look what happened there. Now he's looking at if he's going to pick Dillian White, it's because he thinks he's easy money and easy to fight. Because
so I'm going to ask you, bro, which do you think is the harder fight, Daniel Dubois or Andy Ruiz?
The easy fight, Dubois.
Which do you think is the easier fight, Dillian White or Andy Ruiz?
Andy Ruiz. His styles make fights.
No, no,
Styles
no,
makes
no,
fight.
no. I disagree. I disagree.
think,
He
I
said
think Dylan
Andy
White's
Ruiz is
superior.
an easier fight than
Styles
Dylan
makes
White.
fight.
I don't think Andy Ruiz is an
I
easier
don't
fight
think
than
so
Dillian
either.
White.
Yeah,
I don't agree with that.
I do.
The main thing with Andy, and I've said this before, can Wilder land the right hand? Yes. But if Andy slips it and he gets inside, he could be in trouble.
And that hand speed. Andy's
The hand speed,
And
right?
this also depends. Will that right hand knock out Andy Ruiz?
Yeah,
Exactly.
he's got-
Andy
Andy's
Ruiz
got
will
a
eat
chin a
that
little
right
bit, man.
hand.
He does.
Andy Ruiz will eat the right hand. The third round against Joshua, when Joshua came out, he landed the right hand. He landed a massive right hand that would knock out most heavyweights. And Andy Ruiz ate
That's
it.
right.
And that's
And remember
you
that
gotta watch
Andy
that
is
fight
fat
back.
again. Andy is fat again. I've been fucking telling y'all, fat people are hard to fight,
Yep.
bro.
The heavier you are, the more stable you are, man.
He
Look,
got that shock absorber neck. That's why he's
Exactly.
able to take them punches.
That
Exactly.
neck makes up like 50% of his weight, man. That's a thick ass neck.
Yeah, but
People think pumping iron makes you strong, but it's them naturally big people that are really strong.
For real. Andy, when they tried to make him skinny, that's why Chris Areola dropped him, because y'all tried to make him skinny and his neck got like, I remember because it looked weird on him, like, oh, so you're not supposed to be skinny. Because he had like the Star Jones. Who remember Star Jones? When
I
she lost
do.
all the weight?
Yeah, when she lost all that weight, she looked all stupid and stringy.
For real, and you see how her neck looked, and it's like, yo, your head is too big for your neck. Like, you look better fed. Like,
look, I remember that fight because Andy Ruiz's head looked like a fucking like those bobbleheads, man. He knocked
like
that shit. That shit shook like a bobblehead.
Yep.
When they tried to make him skinny, they weakened him. And I remember leading into the Ortiz fight, he said, they're like, nah, we're not doing that. We're not trying to be that no more. We we're gonna be at the weight that we be at. And like y'all said, if Wilder land that right hand, there is a chance that he don't knock him out. There's a chance he might break his hand on this fat motherfucker. And if he do, he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Do you think that this whole thing about mystery fighters and talking to AJ is Wilder's way of avoiding Andy Ruiz? Because it's starting to look a little bit like that.
I mean, this is the other thing. The other thing about that is I'm looking at Wilder like, bro, is 38 years old, 9 surgeries to the same hand. What's in it for me if I beat Andy? A title shot at Fury for his WBC or Usyk? Bro, why would I even put myself on that path when I could get money now? I could get money in my next fight. So I ain't going to just, because he could beat Andy. The other side of the coin is, listen, Andy don't really slip like that. He don't really slip punches like that.
He
If
did take
you
a lot
see
of
all them
punches.
left hands that Luis Ortiz hit him with, them straight left hands, Wilder could land the right hand. So it's two sides to that argument. But if you Wilder and you damn near 40, bro, I ain't going to get but so much money on Showtime with him. I'm not. Now, if you want to say that he ducked him, you can. There's an argument. But that would be like saying that you don't think Wilder can beat him. And I do think, Wilder, he could beat Andy.
Yeah, he could beat Andy.
Could beat Andy. You know what I mean? So
honestly, when I heard Shelly Finkel mention the mystery fighter, like, look, I was kind of a 90s kid, so I grew up on Pokemon, and it was like, who's that Pokemon? So it was like, who's that next fighter? And I'm telling you, man, it's probably going to be Dubois.
I'm telling you guys right now, we're talking about the PBC, so it's not going to be anybody good.
But wait a minute, Michael, you can't discount that if it's the way Marcos Villegas said it is, that Fox is out, that last year was their last year, that would then mean, okay, Wilder's going to float back over to Showtime. Who the fuck is at Showtime, bro? That'll get him some money, that'll put some money in his pocket. Who is over there?
Hey, Jules, real quick. I think if there is a mystery opponent and Wilder's going to make some big money, I think it has to be a foreign fighter and it has to be in a foreign land. I remember Icelandic Makhmudaliev offered him $20 million to fight when he had the WBC championship. Maybe it's something like that we don't see. Something going on behind the curtains that we don't see.
And you know what it could be, Chaim? Listen, Eddie keeps saying we having positive conversations with Shelly Finkel, that the lines of communication are open and the lines of communication are good. That leads me to believe that the mystery opponent could be a matchroom fighter. He's wanted to make White versus Wilder for the longest fucking time, about as long as he's wanted to make Joshua versus Wilder. So to me, the mystery opponent could be Dillian White. Dillian ain't doing nothing right now. Fuck he doing? Nothing.
If it's not Dillian White, and we know it's not AJ, Who do you think it could be from Matchroom? You know, who you think
Derek
it could
Chisora?
I mean,
be?
no,
He
but that's,
signed. He
wait a
signed to
minute.
fight Derek Chisora already. He didn't show up to the press conference. Remember?
But
He had a
also,
domestic
but
violence
wait a
charge.
minute, because the other thing is you got to also look at the market. What markets would get the fight money? Does Chisora versus Wilder sell in the UK? Believe it or not, I think it does.
It would do
I think
okay.
it does as well.
I think it does. Just off of him being there is my thing. That for Wilder to finally, think outside the box. It's money out here. It's money in the UK. It's fans that buy tickets in the UK.
But on the other side of the coin there, Julius, the Fury Chisora third fight I thought would be a good money seller because you got two basically Brits fighting, and that didn't sell that much.
No, but this is the difference. Why? They already synced that, bro. They synced that shit 2 times already, bro. Now and the first 2 times they fought, it wasn't even a box office fight. It was a regular fight. So for you to turn around and put that on pay-per-view in December when people buying Christmas presents, nah, fam, like that, nah, you bugging. But Wilder, just off of the fact that Wilder imagine Wilder coming out to the UK, he gonna talk his shit. To this day, Bomb Squad, all the shit, bro. Just the novelty of him finally venturing out would be enough to attract attention. I
think Wilder versus Bellew in Liverpool does numbers.
Yeah, but Bellew. I remember in 20.
Think about the talk up for the.
No. I'm gonna tell you why. Bellew repented for talking shit because he didn't realize how much bigger Wilder was than him, and for AJ Klitschko, remember they was both there, and that's when he realized, nah, I'm not fighting him. He too big.
I remember that he said you can't swim without getting wet. He said this guy's too big. He's gonna catch him at some point.
Exactly. Like Bellew don't. The only people I think that look, he could make money and they would accept the fight. They would also accept the fight. Is White. I definitely think that makes money. Definitely. And Chisora, but Chisora seems a little less likely because you got your motherfucking ass whooped in your last fight. Like, you got hit a lot. It wasn't fun to watch, but he did get hit a lot. So I would sooner say Dillian White, you had your rebound fight. He had his rebound fight. Y'all good to go. It's the most sensible fight.
And that fight would do good numbers.
It would.
Who does he fight in America and make good numbers with? Is it Jared Anderson?
Jared, look, I love Jared.
Or Jabba.
I mean, like, you know what? A Jabba at the MGM, that sells.
Yeah,
that sells at the MGM. Long as you keep the course, long as the course is low, and the course ain't low to keep the to jerk the fighters, right? You keep the course low so that there is an upside. Don't pay so much to do this thing because then it ain't
no high guarantees. I agree with you. But why did you say the MGM? I would have said more Barclays.
Because it's a fight town, bro. It's a fight town. Like, that's a Vegas fight. 2 big heavyweights. They both hit hard. Somebody got to go.
Nobody really know a job for a Vegas fight, though.
But what sells that fight is the question: can a Jagba beat this guy? Can he beat him? And it's
both
not
heavy right-handers,
Yeah, and also it's like you say to Barclays, but I'm like, look, New York is not the fight town that it used to be. It's like it's
not anymore. But well, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
no, it's fights happening. Don't get it twisted. But a part of the reason that fights kind of moved away from New York was the taxes, bro.
Yeah, no, the tax, they was taxing them too much. I agree with you. Me and you are both New Yorkers, and even 50 Cent left New York to go to Houston.
Exactly.
The taxes are so
Cam
crazy.
went to Florida,
I do
bro.
agree with you on that, but I think Deontay Wilder has a strong fan base in New York. He's fought like 5 fights in Barclays in Brooklyn. Right?
Say this though, look. It can't. We know it ain't a Jagba because he literally about to fight this weekend, so we know it's not him.
Yeah.
But in a scenario where we entertaining Wilder, a Jagba, right? Who gonna bankroll that? Bob ain't gonna pay an arm and a leg for that fight. He not.
No,
he not. So then you got to say, okay, will Bob let a Jagba go to PBC where he left? Remember, a Jagba left PBC, but say, is Bob gonna let that man go over there if he beats Shaw?
I don't know.
I think so. No, I think so. Yes, because Bob let Ramirez go, right?
Yeah,
So,
but they
yes.
offered him crazy, retarded ass money. They offered him
That's
$4
what I'm
million.
saying. No, but I'm saying whatever PBC offers a jobber, not a jobber, a jobber to go over. I think, yeah.
You know what you mentioned?
You think they're gonna offer a Jogba like a crazy $5-6 million to bring him over there?
No, I'm saying that.
How come no one's mentioned Frank Sanchez? This guy is just.
I was thinking
Nobody want to see him, bro. Like, please stop. Like, don't talk about no.
PBC though, Julius. They might keep it in house. I don't think they're going outside.
Bro, I think he should go to MMA. Like, bro, I don't want to watch you box, bro. Go to MMA.
Put him in there with Francis Ngannou, man. That'd be a fun fight.
Yeah, like I don't want to watch like till he really, because look, and somebody said this a couple of years ago. I disagreed with it then, but I understand the wisdom of it now. You don't really watch the heavyweights for a lot of shit. Feel me? Somebody need to go to sleep, and the only one going to sleep when Frankie in the ring is me. You want to watch that shit?
Hey, honestly, a Jogba, I'm with Rona on this one. That'd be great to see a Jogba versus Anderson maybe later this year. That'd be a good fight.
Yeah,
that'd be a fun fight.
They might build him up to that shit too.
That'd be a fun fucking fight, dude.
Yeah, and
they're both on the same platform, right?
Yeah, and Anderson is almost ready. Like Anderson is all like I would like to see, because he beat Jerry Forrest, which I think people not saying enough about. He beat that man in 2 rounds. Jerry Forrest is not somebody that you just whoop his ass in 2 rounds, and he whooped his ass in 2 rounds. So, he ready for a step up. Just I don't. But I'm gonna throw something out. Do you think he ready for Takam?
Who?
Maybe one more.
Jared Anderson?
Actually, yeah. Fuck it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Jared Anderson is teetering on the edge of getting clipped. The way he's running in. The way he's running in, if a Dylan White catch him with a left hook, he's going to sleep. He's running in a little too reckless.
Yeah,
let me say this. I seen Takam in the motherfucking Makhmudov fight. He still got it, bro. He still got it. Like he was getting over the right hands and all of that.
The one thing I like about Takam is he's kind of like a Chisora on that front. He'll go there to fight regardless of the outcome. He'll go there are a lot of people who fought Takam and they just look bad against Takam because his style is just like that.
It's not everybody. Chisora looked bad against Takam before he fucking knocked him out, but he was looking bad. Like, yo, you losing this shit. Motherfucking AJ didn't look great with Takam. Joyce didn't look great with Takam. Chisora didn't look great with
the only
Takam.
Guy was Povetkin. The only
That's
guy.
it.
But we're not talking about the truth. Like, we got to be honest. Jared Anderson right now, what is he, 23 years old, 24 years old?
That's why I asked
that type of youthful exuberance is amazing in the heavyweight division. Nobody has that. That's going to put him past almost every single heavyweight in the division up until you get to the top guys. Let me throw out another name for you.
Let me throw out another name for you. Do you think that he could fight Pulev?
Yeah, he'll destroy Pulev.
He'll
knock out Pulev.
Yeah, then that's the guy.
He'll knock out Pulev. The fight that he needs, the fight that's going to get him. Go ahead, Beast. I'm sorry.
He won't destroy Pulev. It'll be a tough fight.
No,
you think it'll be a tough fight?
No, hell no.
Nah, Pulev's chin is done,
he's
bro.
Going to get aggravated with
fight?
Pulev. He's going to get aggravated with Pulev's jab, and he's going to take Pulev apart.
Pulev is a Hungarian roadman, bro.
No. Let me go some shit out there. It's 2 things you got to be mindful of. It's 2 things that I see that I'm like, one, Jared gonna be a lot faster than him in every fucking way you can imagine.
Yes,
gonna be a lot faster. Pulev, his best punch is the jab. That's it. He ain't got a big right hand. He ain't got a big left hook. He got the jab and the jab. And I'm like, if Jared Anderson could win the battle of the jabs, which I think he can, I tend to lean towards he'll knock out Pulev. He's too fast.
Yeah, he'll destroy Pulev. A jab is not going. A jab is good to set up other stuff. A jab is not going to just simply keep a person off of you that's a bigger man and focused and determined. No.
Yeah, because eventually you're going to have to pop him. Eventually you're going to have to pop him with some shit.
Yeah, you're going to have to hit him with something serious. Come on, and he don't have nothing to hit him with that's serious.
He don't.
Yeah, the only other thing that Pulev's got going for him is the size.
He's never fought a jab like that, though. He's never fought a jab like that.
Would you say that again, Beats?
He
I
hasn't
give you
fought
that.
an opponent with a jab like that.
I give you that.
Jared.
Yeah,
I give you that.
but
Plus
Jared
Pulev is big.
is going to destroy him.
Look, I like
He
Kruger.
doesn't
I
last 2 rounds.
like Pulev, man. He was one of my favorite fighters, like during the Klitschko era of boxing. But like at this point, like look, he just lost to Derek Chisora, a split decision loss. I get it. You got KO'd by Anthony like 2 years ago, dude. You're like what 43, 40,
This is
so
what
sorry,
I'm
41,
saying.
bro. You're like 41 years old. Like look, if you look with all respect, get your money in. I get it. You like you're a boxer, whatever. But like. You might have to retire, man. Like I'm not even being.
Nah,
I'm not even trying to be
it's no
harsh.
fights out there for him. B, look.
I
No,
don't know,
Pulev-
man.
Wait. It's a fight that I've always wanted, right? It's a fight that I've always wanted because they look alike. Like Pulev looks like Bizarro Joseph Parker. He literally looked like Bizarro.
Yeah, this should be.
I want that fight, bro. Like, nah.
I
like,
do.
Pulev got more dog in him than Parker, but Parker is younger, so it's like, nah, this is a fight. This is a fight. This is a
Wait,
fight.
how are you gonna call him Bizarro
He
Parker
look
if
like
he's older than
Bizarro
him?
Parker.
If he's older than him, shouldn't you call Parker Bizarro Pulev?
I mean, you could, but it's like, remember that Bizarro Superman was the one that was all fucked up and old looking. So I got.
Hey, look, man, that's just the Bulgarian look, man. I have never seen a pretty Bulgarian man. Okay.
I don't think Pulev survives 2 rounds with Jared Anderson.
No, that's where we.
I don't think Daniel Dubois.
That's where we
survives 2
disagree.
rounds with him.
I think it'd be middle round.
No.
like 6,
All
7.
right. I'll tell you what. No, wait. I'll tell you what. I would pick Jared Anderson to knock out Dubois right now. Right? He is in no way, shape, or form, however, ready for a Joe Joyce.
No, but he can definitely hurt a Joe Joyce. Everybody thinks Joe Joyce can't be hurt. We saw him hurt against who was it? Bermainster? No, it wasn't Bermainster. It was the other guy.
Who you talking about, Jennings?
Brian Jennings. We saw him hurt, so he can be hurt. And
Yeah, but the problem-
Jared Anderson is very versatile. He's fluid. You don't find a young.
3 fights, bro.
Yeah,
3.
man.
I wouldn't make that fight. Listen, I would not make that fight for another 3 fights, bro. I wouldn't make that fight for another 3
I
fights.
agree with you. But
The problem
let's
is Joyce
just.
can hurt him.
He's 23 years old. He has fluidity and foot movement. He has punching power. He's relentless. Has a heart of a lion. And come on, man. There's not nobody else in the division you could say that about.
Yeah,
I
but
say
here's the problem
something?
with Joyce. Here's the
Can I
problem.
say
Joyce
something?
can hurt him.
Go ahead, Leo.
Joyce
Go ahead,
can hurt
Leo.
him.
We don't know about his heart yet. It's not seasoned.
You're
yet.
correct. You're correct. I agree with you.
He hasn't had to face no
He hasn't been
adversity.
challenged yet. He hasn't faced no adversity. I agree with you.
And the other thing is that a fight like that, especially for a guy who's 23 with that kind of ceiling, that shit don't even make sense until like 2-3 fights from now. So I say get him Pulev. That makes sense to me. Pulev done been in there with a lot of good fighters. You know he got a good pedigree. You know he got a good jab, but it's winnable enough that you can make it. And yeah, Jared will win that fight. I think he'll win that fight.
I think he
You
wins
think
the
they
fight, but I'm giving him maybe a little bit too much credit, but at the same time, everybody that we there's some world champions out here that have never been really through the mud, really tested. So we gotta, look at Shakur Stevenson. When was he really tested?
Yeah, but that's
really
because we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna
No,
do
but
that.
I gotta say that.
No. You know why we're not going to do that? Because the reason that he hasn't been tested isn't because of how he's been matched. It's because he's that good.
Yeah, exactly. He is.
He has been matched. If motherfuckers ain't realized that Nicotila tough until after Shakur beat him. You see what I mean? Oscar Valdez ain't no bitch. Robson Conceição was a high risk, low reward. Why would you even fight that dude? But he fought that dude, and he beat that dude comprehensively.
The question still remains. When he meets Emmanuel Augustus, what's going to happen? The question still remains. The question still remains when the guy we're talking about, the heavyweight, Jared Anderson. The question still remains. They haven't hit the brick wall yet.
He from New Jersey, bro. It smells terrible over there. You gotta have heart. Just it smells terrible over there, bro. Like
he's from Newark, man.
From Newark, New Jersey, bro. He good. I'm telling you, he good, man. He good.
I believe he is good. But I'm just saying, I think Jared Anderson might be the goods as well.
Sources say Jared Anderson has the heart to swim through the Brooklyn River and survive. So,
do you think they'll try to match him against the winner of Ajagba versus Shaw?
That'd be a good fight.
I think they got no choice. I don't think.
What about Makhmudov?
Makhmudov, I'm gonna tell you what, bro. Makhmudov is he got better feet than people realize. He just need to stop throwing that straight 1-2. Like that's all he throw is the straight 1-2. He just like motherfucking. He just like a jogger. It's the jab and the right. You don't see a left hook. You don't see an uppercut. You don't see no difference in the cadence of the jab. It's literally jab right hand, jab right hand, jab right hand from the first to the last round. And that's why he couldn't knock out Takam, even though he hurt him.
I agree with you 100%. I thought that when I first saw Icelandic Makhmudov, I thought that he was the next real beast, the real monster. Dwyer saw Filip Hrgovic and thought that Filip Hrgovic was the next real monster.
Yo, I really thought that too, bro.
I gotta admit, I think both of us was wrong. I think Zhilei Zhang is more dangerous than both of them.
Now, if I had to look at a guy that's out there right now that I think is the next animal, it's the Jalilov, bro. That dude is a fucking animal, bro.
Everybody's saying that he's a problem.
That dude is an animal.
Honestly, put a Anderson window with a Frank Sanchez. I
don't want to. Come on, don't do that, bro. I don't want to see. I told you that dude. Go to baseball.
Look, I get it. Look. Sanchez is ranked number 2 in the WBO, and I just want him gone. Just fuck off.
Just let him go to MMA, bro. Let him go to MMA. Let him go to MMA. Let him go to.
He's Rigondeaux versus Casemiro for life.
Just get Sanchez in there with Jared Anderson.
Fine, put him in there with Martin Bacoli, man. Fuck it. Bacoli's ranked 2, I think, in the WBA. You might as well put him in there with him.
Bro, nobody want to fight Bacoli, bro. Nobody want to fight Bacoli. He giving out dad ass whoopings. When he was fighting Tony Yoka, it looked like he was fighting his teenage son.
I get it, man. Put him in there. That'd be a good fight,
put Anderson in there with Bacoli.
I want to see
that
what Bacoli is really about.
Son, y'all trying to kill that kid, B.
Yo, relax.
Look. Bacoli is really about, yo.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's exactly. I'm with him. That's what I'm saying. Like, put him in there with Anderson just to see how good he really is.
Martin Bacoli. The only fight that is acceptable to me for Frankie Sanchez is Martin Bacoli. That's
but
it.
Now, that's because you got some biased hatred towards Frankie Sanchez.
Not that, bro. It's that these cards come on late, and I'm old, and I can't. I shouldn't like. He sucked all the fucking air out the room in that card, bro. It traumatized me that we had a good fight with Hellenius and Kovnowski, their rematch. It was a good fight. It was punches. It was fun. And then he comes in and he literally fucked it all up. Like you fucked up the whole ambiance.
How about Aaron Demirezin then?
No, you know what? Demirezin throw punches. I could go for that. He throw punches.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm just saying, like you got to start weeding out some of these people. So I'm just saying, like if we think Anderson's the goods, put him in there with like some people like a Bacoli. I get it. Bacoli hits hard and he might hurt that kid. But in the same way, like you got to eventually take that step of fight. Like again, Anderson is what? He's 13. Oh, actually, shit. I think he's only like what 13, 14 fights in.
I got to go to my man Beats with this. I got a question in my mind, but I don't know the answer. Joe Joyce versus Martin Bacoli. Who wins the fight?
Oh, Martin Bacoli.
Joe Joyce.
Martin Bacoli.
I don't know. But Bacoli is being slept on.
Bacoli, they not sleeping on him. They not sleeping on him. They know what he about. That's why don't nobody want to fight him.
Right, exactly.
Joe Joyce is calling out everybody but Martin Bacoli.
But why you saying that nobody wants to fight Martin Bacoli?
Because you know what the shit is that look. This at minimum, you know you dealing with a dude that could punch, but he ain't worth no bread. So it's like, well, what the fuck we gonna fight him for? He ain't even worth no bread. If we do this, don't nobody even know this man.
So he's a second Filip Hrgovic. He's a second Filip Hrgovic.
You know, he yoked Daniel Dubois sparring, yeah? He yoked him up bad, yeah?
Bro,
I heard.
You know that's what Frank should make. Like, look, bro, I gave Daniel a chance. Beast told me about 3-4 years ago he ain't it. I ain't want to believe that shit. He literally said that. He ain't it, bro. He ain't it. He said that shit 3 years ago, bro. And we here. He getting knocked the fuck around by Kevin Lorena. I say, Frank, just feed him to Martin Bacoli and sign him, bro. Fuck it.
Good point.
You need a fighter that can fight, bro.
Yeah, that's what you got to do sometimes. You gotta take the opponent. But didn't Don King do that when Lennox Lewis and Alvin McCall?
That's what he did. So
hey, how about Fabio Wadley, man? He's a
That's
legend.
my
Like,
guy.
No, no, Fabio is good, but the thing with Fabio is the reason you gotta move Fabio slow, which I'm not against, is because he don't have an amateur background. He only was a white collar boxer. He had a couple of white collar boxing matches. You can't put him like he don't got that Hergovic pedigree, that Pulev pedigree.
He's too wild. He has that Conor Ben mentality, and he's not defensively responsible. But I like Fabio Ward because he's a gorilla.
Same, because I think if you keep him busy, which is what I think Eddie should do, just keep him busy, bro. Get him like let that dude fight 3-4 times this year if you can. He has a fun fucking style, bro. I ain't never seen a boring Fabio Wardley fight.
Never.
Realistically, there's not that many. Like, I'm thinking of who can Anderson realistically fight. There's not that many names in the heavyweight I see coming. Okay, well, yeah, I get Pulev. Okay, look, I get Pulev.
You don't want Pulev to get his ass whooped. That's what.
No, look. I like my Bulgarian cousin. Okay.
You got to let that ass.
I'm a little biased. Okay, fine. I'll be a bigger man. I'll admit my bias.
I got three names. I got 3 realistic names for you that are good for Jared Anderson. One is a little bit of a high risk, low reward because he's a mover and he's a little bit underrated. But one is obviously Pulev, who I mentioned. Another is Ali Demirezin, who beat Adam Kovnowski, and to my knowledge, he's not a PBC fighter. And the last one is Agit Kabayel, unbeaten Agit Kabayel from Germany. He's a high risk. He's kind of a high risk. He's a boxer. He's gonna box. He's not no plotter. He's gonna stick and move and use his jab, and he can move on the inside too. Like he fake nice. We just don't know how nice. But he did beat Derek Chisora in 2017 in Monte Carlo. So it's like, nah, this dude, he better than advertised. Like he might not be a great, but he better than advertised.
How about a future Otto Wallin fight?
Nah, I don't mind Otto. But
does Anderson beat right now today? Does he beat Johnny Rice?
Yes. You talking about the Marine, right?
The Johnny Rice, the one that just beat Coffey. Well, he got a good one.
Talking 6-figure Johnny?
Right. Johnny Rice, the one that just beat Coffey.
Yeah, you're talking
6-figure Johnny.
No, he'll beat him. Wait, he'll beat him, but the fight will be harder than it needs to be. That's what I'm saying. It'll be harder than necessary. And that's going to make you
he's on the undercard.
Let me tell you what Johnny Rice is. Let me just tell you what Johnny Rice is real quick. Johnny Rice is a bigger version on the night. He's a bigger version than Buster Douglas.
Yeah.
Buster Douglas was amazing on the night.
I'll say this.
Is a bigger version of him.
You don't make that fight right now. You don't make that fight because Jared could win the fight, but it'll be harder than it need to be right now. It's like, yo, he might get dropped in that fight, bro. Jared might get dropped in that fight.
Or he might get his jaw broke.
Johnny Rice beats Dubois.
Yes, he does.
He
has an amazing jab, and he has a right hand that comes behind it. He destroys Dubois. He knocks Dubois out.
People kind of sleep on Johnny Rice. Like people got to remember, like, his losses were not to like bad people. Like, he lost to a Jogba. He lost to a Jogba. I know he lost to Dimsy McKean. I know he lost to Arslanbek Makhmudov, and then I think he lost to Yoka and Shaw.
But you know that you also know that them ain't bums. Like if he been fighting,
that's what I'm saying. He's not.
I mean, he giving them young unbeaten guys work, so he definitely not no bum. He not no bum.
He has a chin. Not
he
knocked him out.
He still has a full-time job.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like six figure Johnny's not bad. Like I like that dude. He
fights on the undercard.
That's a problem.
I gotta bring up somebody that I know y'all don't like, but I personally think he could make the heavyweight division exciting in his own way, and that's my man from BK, Jarrell Miller.
Yes,
we need more Miller.
He is the
big baby.
How old is he? How old is Jarrell Miller?
He in his mid-30s, but boxing needs a villain, and he could be that.
He's the Yes,
he could be that.
Honestly, Miller
looks like he talk good shit. He could rap a little bit. I heard some bars he got. He could rap a little bit. Talk good shit. He got a good haircut again because I seen it like he getting haircuts again because shit was looking crazy for a little bit. We need more Jarrell Miller because
he's got a good
ain't no boxing fan gonna tell me that they wouldn't watch Jared Anderson versus Jarrell Miller or Martin Foley versus Jarrell Miller. You could put that man in damn near any fight and motherfuckers will want to watch it.
Yeah, he's got a good. He's the American Tyson Fury.
Bro,
Okay,
you spoke of like Bizarro, whatever. Now tell me Gerald doesn't look like fucking Dillian White. They look the exact same to me,
bro.
man. I swear to God. It's just like
Nah,
Dillian White's got a wider
Nah.
face. That's the only
Now,
difference, bro.
Jarrell Miller is a lot bigger. He's a
yeah,
lot bigger
Jarrell
of
is
a
like
man.
300 pounds.
I'm
Yo,
just
he
saying,
walking
looking at
around
their
like
face,
320,
look
dude.
at their face, and you can't tell me their faces don't look similar, dude.
There's
I mean,
a
they could look similar. I'm not.
there's a slight similarity, but if you stood them next to each other, you gonna think that Dillian, you've been working out, and it's not even that. It's just that Jarrell fat as shit, my guy. Like
Allegedly he went down in weight a little bit.
a
He's
little
been-
bit, but it's a
yeah.
lot to go down. Like nah.
I want him to get me and Jules had this conversation before, and he was talking about me and Jules had an argument between Jarrell Miller versus Daniel Dubois, and he said Jarrell Miller would beat Daniel Dubois. I said, yeah, but not at 340. I need him at 280. Because like one fight he came in at 340 or something.
Now, I'm glad
I need
you
him at
revisiting that.
280.
I'm
I
glad you
remember
revisiting that.
arguing back and forth.
Now, off of that, you seen what happened since then.
With
You got
Lorena, I know.
Lorena.
Look,
And
at
I'm just saying,
250 pounds
if a little cruiserweight, because that's what the fuck he was. He was a little cruiserweight. He's not even a big cruiserweight like an Okoli. If he could do that to Daniel, what would 300 pounds behind the punch? Just 300.
But I still got a point. I still have a point because that little cruiserweight is throwing the punch quick enough to get to the target. What's your big 340 pound fucking guy doing?
That's not bad. That's a valid point.
That one I will bet you on. Like I'm waiting to bet you on something, but me and you agree a lot on a lot of things, so I can't really bet you on that. But I'm looking for one thing where we disagree, and I will bet you. I'll bet you $200, whatever the hell.
I'll tell you what, bro.
But
if they made Miller,
if they made that, I bet you.
If they make Miller versus Dubois, like if they say, all right, they announced it tomorrow, Miller versus Dubois, I got a hundo on Miller. I got a hundo for that fight. I got
200 on Dubois. If
come on,
Miller,
B, just bet 100, my God. Why you got to be extra? Just bet 100, B.
Because we're not playing. It's Harlem out here. We always doing.
You don't gotta do that though. Like, why I gotta be 200, bro? I got kids, man.
Yeah, I got a dog and a kid on the way. Anyway, listen.
Didn't Miller just fight Sosa, or was that pushed back?
Oh, I don't know.
I gotta check because
he's fighting on nondescript shit. Man.
Yeah, exactly. Like he been fighting. Like I think he was supposed to have a fight in Romania. Yo, he was literally taking pictures with Andrew Tate.
Literally.
Okay. Because Jarrell Miller is like 25 fights in, and he's being moved very weirdly. That's just one of my critiques. I don't know
but the other shit is it gotta be weird, bro. He burned a lot of bridges. You know he can't go back to Matchroom.
He actually had a world title in his hands. He was going to fight a concussed Anthony Joshua. He had the world title in his hands.
For real though, if and I've been saying this. Look, he can't go to Top Rank because you already burnt that bridge. You know, he really can't. Like, you burnt, and obviously you can't go to Matchroom, but you know where he can go? He can motherfucking go to Queensbury. He can motherfucking go to Sky. He could talk that shit. He could talk shit.
He can. But what's the big fight for him? What's the big fight for him?
Joe Joyce. Both unbeaten.
He cannot fight Joe Joyce. That is
Joyce might kill him.
Nah, you built no. See, you built that. That's not saying. In other words, I'm like, look. If I'm going to do it, let's say, okay, I'm Frank Warren. I'm about to sign Jarrell Miller. I need to give him a fight. First, I'm gonna get him a bullshit fight. I'm gonna get him a bullshit fight first. Then I'm gonna give him Daniel Dubois. I'm gonna give him. All right.
He's gonna eat him.
He's gonna eat him. And then after that, you do the Joyce fight. After that. By then he should be good. Like you 3 fights into the deal, you should be, working, shed some weight, active, all that.
It's funny that you mentioned Joe Joyce because really before Joe Joyce was really on the scene, this guy was Joe Joyce. He was the engine that kept throwing 1,000 punches.
He don't look like that no more.
He don't look like that no more with the PEDs going, but. That would be interesting. Him and Kalnaki had the highest output for heavyweight punches in a fight.
And that was the first red flag about Jerome.
Yeah, that was.
You got a guy that he's like 300 and change, and he throwing punches well into the fight. And it's like, bro, and then the Vada shit, the explanation that he gave that he too busy for Vada, bro. Anthony Joshua got UCAD, Vada and Adam's whereabouts. If he's not too busy, you can't be too busy, bro. You can't make that shit make sense.
Yeah.
What is that sound?
I don't know, B.
Someone snoring or
So,
something else.
I
Divided.
don't know if Jarrell gets licensed over in the UK, man. I don't know if the board allows it. I'm not sure.
If anybody can make it happen, Frank Crooked Ass can make it happen.
Frankie.
Frank can make that shit
Or
happen.
he
God
go to
bless-
Luxembourg.
God
or he
bless
go to
Frank Warren.
Luxembourg.
He can make that shit happen because I believe that Frank Warren, he got I think it was you that said it, Beats, that this dude been around a long time. He got relationships that predate careers, with people that have been around. So in all likelihood, he can make that shit happen. Jarrell Miller needs to arrive in the UK this year, man.
Yeah, the thing is though, like if he screws up again, how do they explain it? He's been with Eddie, Bob. How did I don't think so.
Bro, look, Conor Ben about to come back and we ain't getting no explanation. You know what I mean? Zolani Tete just got popped, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to be
because
in the system though.
but look, that's because you guys all know that deep down all of this like this outrage is so bullshit. It's so fake. No one actually gives a shit that they got popped dirty. Like no one
at this point, I encourage them to use the goddamn peds at this point.
Bro, if it gives me an entertaining fight, bro, I will tell you which peds to take. I'll help you cycle.
I'm not gonna lie, I still want Joshua versus Miller. I still want that. I love that.
I want that too, but I don't think that shit never gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. I want that.
That is a good fight, though. That is a good fight.
That is a good fight. We was excited for that fight.
Hey, AJ came in weird that night, but he still would have beat the shit out of Jarrell.
I don't know about all that shit, bro.
I think he would
had a concussion, bro. The lady, the blonde lady with the fat old ass, from Brooklyn, Serafina.
She managed Jarrell Miller.
She said that the reason that she was confident that Jarrell could win was because Joey DeVaco had gave AJ a concussion. Now, how he got past medicals, I don't know, but that's what she said.
Bro, he squandered his own opportunity. Fucking hell.
Yeah, he had the chance of a lifetime, and he fucked it up, man. That's the truth. He literally had
actually, I vaguely remember now that situation. That was during sparring, right? I vaguely remember that now.
Yeah, it's a dude from Philly. He is short, stocky guy, but he's a good fighter for what it's. He is a good fighter. Like he's a good journeyman kind of fighter, but he'll fuck you up if you're not on your shit. Joey DeVaco. And they said that he knocked Anthony Josh out in sparring. That's what they said.
Yeah. He's an Andrew Ruiz duplicate.
I have my theories about that shit, but yeah, that and based on that, that's why AJ wasn't right in that first Ruiz fight. And yeah, I believe it because he didn't look right.
That's why he was in the corner asking him why my body feel like this, why I feel like this.
Exactly. Like
because he was concussed.
If you go back and watch that shit and you look at his face during the ring walk, you can see that something is not right.
Yeah, I thought he looked weird beforehand.
So, you know what I mean? I would love Joshua versus Miller just because there's a backstory, but realistically, I just can't see that. I can't see that forming because Eddie like, nah, beat the fuck we look like, man. Like, nah.
I think for business, Eddie would do it. Fuck it. Eddie's a businessman, a smart businessman.
He's a businessman. He is. That's
it's a shame. It's a shame that we all boxing fans and we all want to see that fight. Jarrell Miller versus AJ. We all want to see that fight, and he fucked.
Bro, that's the perfect fight for Madison Square Garden, bro. That's the perfect fight.
Perfect. And and AJ could knock him out, and it's so fucked up.
And that's the other thing that if AJ knocked him out, one thing that I feel that Americans have wanted that they never really got from AJ, or at least they're not satisfied, is they want to see him whooping American ass. And they're not happy with Charles Martin, feel me? They're not happy with Brazil. They want him to fight like an American that'll talk a lot of shit. That's fucking Miller, bro.
Also, they wanted to happen on their watch. Martin in Brazil did not happen on the American watch. It didn't happen on the American watch.
Beats.
That happened in the UK.
Wait, Beats. I know he was talking shit that he walked this earth like a god, but I know, like, I'm not disagreeing, but it's like motherfuckers knew Martin. You got that belt because he hurt his ankle. Motherfuckers knew, and I respect. I gave AJ respect because he was fighting that dude at only 15-0, whereas Charles Martin was 22-0. So I'm like, wow, that's a good fight for a young guy that ain't got only 15.
But Jules,
You got to give him that respect because the real world champion at the time, the current world champion at the time, didn't reach out to fight Charles Martin. Why is that? How's that possible? You got some young punk that just won a belt out of the fucking Walmart grab bag, and now he's on your side of the street, everything, and you won't even fight him.
I bring that shit up. Yo, I bring that shit up all the time. That Al Heyman.
Damn, you won't even fight him.
Al Heyman, like he should have made. Like, if you was really trying to make Wilder a star, feed him Charles Martin.
Come on,
knock him out.
Who did Wilder fight in 2016?
Areola.
He was a
Areola. I think Areola and Spilka. I think it was Areola and Spilka.
Yo, a lot of people don't remember. When AJ started that bullshit. When AJ started really becoming famous and getting crazy, Wilder was under pressure where he had to fight somebody. Yeah. But Wilder had a fight scheduled. His fight was scheduled against Warswick, some Polish guy.
Right. Warswick.
People don't remember the truth.
Right.
Come on,
right.
Listen, man. Henry Tillman, who trains Charles Martin, said they was in negotiation to fight Wilder before AJ, but they screwed it up. They screwed the fight up. Wow. Hey, listen, between 2016, 2017, Wilder and Vlad were on the sideline. The division was open. It was open. Al could have cleaned up. He was the only one who had a strap. Like, he could have cleaned up, but he didn't.
Yep.
And he had won his strap, unless I'm mistaken. He won it in early 2015. You know, he won it in early 2015. And if Al Heyman, which is why I've always maintained, AJ is the real reason that the division started getting attention. Why?
Exactly.
Remember, Al Heyman lost the purse bid to Ryabinski. He was going to let that man go to Russia.
He had to go to Russia.
He wasn't. In other words, you wasn't really invested in him. You got invested in him when you seen that AJ money. They're like, oh, I see what's going on over there. We going to turn this into something. Because when it was just Wilder, he did not have an exclusive Showtime deal. To this day, he never had an exclusive Showtime deal. Showtime, they didn't keep him on the platform because they wasn't invested in him like that. 2, Al Heyman lost a goddamn purse bid to the Russian billionaire, Ryabinski. You was really going to let that man go to Russia? Povetkin was going to knock him out.
Wilder's been guided a lot of times. Jules, correct me if I'm wrong. Wilder was signed to Golden Boy, and he signed a fight to fight Derek Chisora. Frank Warren put on a press conference in England. Was that fight going to be in England?
Yes.
That's my question.
Yes. Derek Chisora. I'm gonna tell you why. Derek Chisora had more marquee value than Wilder at that time. Remember when it was that if you try to get money for this fight, motherfuckers didn't know Wilder in America at that time. Derek was gonna sell that shit. It was his marquee value that was gonna bankroll that fight. But and I've said this before. I've said this to Beats. If Wilder would have fought that Derek, he would have lost. That looping right, that overhand right. He'd have hit Wilder with that shit.
He would have hit him with the Spilker. He'd have lost.
There's 2 fights. There's 2 fights I maintain. There's 2 fights I maintain that I believe that Wilder would have lost if he had Povetkin and Derek. Their style is all wrong for him. You don't got the feet for them guys, and you can't maintain that distance to keep them in front of you and shoot that right. They're gonna get under it or around it. They're gonna come over with some shit, and you know Wilder don't move his fucking head. He'd have lost.
You know what, Julius? To be fair, Julius, you know, Povetkin did pop dirty on that. You know,
I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying that if
he actually really didn't, though. But he actually really didn't.
Oh,
Povetkin actually really
smart.
didn't pop
smart.
Dirty.
Smart.
What happened?
He didn't pop dirty.
That's
why the purse money that was in escrow got rewarded back to Ryabinski and everything. Because he didn't pop dirty.
This the shit. No, it's not that he didn't. No, wait. It's not. Wait. It's not that he didn't. It's not that he didn't. It's that what he tested positive for had just got added to the bid.
Right.
Exactly.
So what Povetkin said was, well, wait a minute. He said, wait a minute. I didn't use this shit this year. I used it last year when it was still legal, and they could not ascertain, well, when does it leave your body?
Yes, correct.
When does it leave your body? Yep. And off of that, they was like, yo, you know what? You good. But he did test positive again right after that.
But it was for a different substance.
It was for a different substance.
Yeah, it was
Yes, it was.
Osterin. It was Osterin, which was on the
Yeah,
ban list.
the first time was Nandrolone, and the second
No.
time was
The
Osterin,
first
right?
time was Meldonium. The first time was Meldonium.
Okay.
And the second time was Osterin. And with Osterin, that kind of confirmed, okay, you were cheating before. Why? Osterin does the same thing as Meldonium, but it's been on the banned list longer. It's been on the banned list.
But he took it for fighting Stavern. I mean, why would you do?
Bro, I gotta grab this phone call. Give me a second.
Wait, Polo wants the link. If you could drop that. Oh, I tried to drop that.
Wilder is a fucking mess, man.
Man, fuck that.
Wilder's entire career is just weird, man. Like
You
he
know,
had like
so bad. I wanted to root for Wilder because I'm
in 2016 I tried.
New York, all that shit.
In 2016 I tried, but when the AJ shit started, in
It's
2016 I tried, but in 2017 I was like, nah. See, I already know what this gonna be. And you could go back and look at them. I was like, I know what this gonna be. I already see where this shit going. You gonna turn it into some shit over here and some shit over there. And I'm like, look, B, if you really believe in yourself, which is my stance on all these shits, if you believe in yourself, go over there, fuck him up, and become the man. You want to play. You like Devin. Did Devin signed a 2-fight deal? Like, I'll beat him twice. I will beat him 2 times.
Yeah.
That would have been with respect. That would have been Wilder's deal. Wilder would have had, but he would have got a lot more money. But that would have been Wilder's deal. He would have had to come to the UK, fight Anthony Joshua, and beat him twice. But Wilder and versus AJ, that's a winnable fight. You could actually win that fight. Just like Gervonta Davis versus Tevin Farmer. We all feel like that's a winnable fight. Like you don't deny that fight. You don't deny that money. You don't deny that legacy. Wilder is playing fucking games. That's why I want him out of the division.
I agree.
And arguably that was the biggest fight for almost 8 years. That was the fight we would want to for a long ass time.
But see, that's what's so stupid about the Davis shit. They wasn't trying to pin you down to like a multi-fight deal. They said one-off deal, damn near $8 million. They was willing to pay him $8 million. And bro, Tevin don't got power. Like I like Tevin because he's an infighter. He slip and roll and counter on the inside. He's in fun fights, but it's like, bro, if they not confident enough to let you fight a dude that ain't got no power, what
dude is cross-sided. The dude is cross-sided.
You don't gotta say that though.
And you know what?
A cross-sided champion. They still won't let you fight him.
And this was right after like the end of like this was like when we wanted Joshua versus Wilder. This was post Klitschko, so you can't even blame this being on like the Klitschko's being like destroying the sport of boxing, even though they did good. This was like 20. No, this was more like 2017, like late 2017 when it started, and it carried all the way up until both of them lost respectively to Ruiz and 1-2.
Bro, he didn't want to fight shit. Like in a nutshell, like he did. Well, first, and I like to remind people of this. First and foremost, the PBC can't get all the blame for Wilder's resume because he was a Golden Boy Promotions fighter long before that. That's why his resume is kind of like Herman Munguia's resume. That you got like a whole ham sandwich of nothing in your shit. That Golden Boy does that. They doing that shit with Munguia. You see what I mean? So a lot of that shit from 2008 leading up to 2015 when the PBC finally, in their inception, a lot of that other shit was Golden Boy. But the PBC shit, y'all fucked up because y'all literally fucked that AJ fight up, and it would have been okay if y'all fucked that up, but did you at least make the Charles Martin fight? No, you didn't. You didn't do shit. And y'all wanted to put him in there with Fury. Y'all chose to put him in there with Fury. That's what fucked it up for him.
No, here's what really fucked it up. After you got that gift draw, why would your dumbass go back into the second time to lose? Because you were gifted that draw.
Wait, let's say this. It's not that, like, okay, he was gifted a draw, but in the fight, he tells himself, I dropped him 2 times so I know that I can touch him. Yeah. And what he didn't anticipate is, he going to switch it up on me in the second one, and he going to come after me. He didn't. Nobody believed that. It's one person on this panel that believed that. You know who it was? Guess.
Leo.
Beats.
Oh, shit.
He literally the only one that, he going to get him. He's going to get him. I remember the video. He's going to get him. I didn't believe. I'm like, Fury really gonna come forward, bro? You have never been that. You always been the boxer. You've never been a puncher. The only dude I seen that picked Fury to win that second fight was Beats.
I'll tell you why. Yeah, I was listening.
Nah, I picked that shit
He
too.
wrote your book, Ben Davison and Fury said, "Why didn't you fight him inside more?" And when he said that, I was like, "Bing! Fight this guy inside with his skinny ass legs."
And he got a new trainer. He got Mr. Stewart for that.
You literally take away his right hand, he can't do nothing. He doesn't
Can't
have a
do
left
nothing.
hook, doesn't have an uppercut, counter, doesn't have no feet. He has nothing.
He literally, like, once Fury figured out, yo, if I get under the right hand and I push him back and then we here, he can't do nothing. And I'm mad heavier than him. He ain't gonna be able to do nothing.
I saw that in the 12th round. I saw that in the 12th round of the first fight. That's the only reason why I thought Fury had learned something. He had caught on something because he got up off the canvas and he started whooping Wilder ass and pushing Wilder back.
I ain't even gonna front. I didn't believe it because remember he was saying. Remember that he was saying the shit. He was saying the shit all in the build up. Oh, I'm gonna knock him out. I'm like, bro, you gonna get knocked the fuck out, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you gonna get knocked the fuck out. You gonna walk into that right and get knocked the fuck out. Nope.
Julius
But
Wilder
Wilder
he was always a manufactured guy. I mean, he
Yeah,
had
I always knew he was
33 guys for nothing up until the Stavern fight. 33. And then he didn't want to unify when the belts went all over the place. When Joe Parker had the belt, he didn't call him out. AJ got him.
That's true.
When Charles Martin had the belt, he didn't call him out. AJ got him. AJ was the one that unified and was the people's heavyweight guy. It was never
God,
Wilder.
I'm having so much nostalgia on this conversation because I will never forget. But what about the dent in his head? Okay,
Can I tell you something? Wait. Let me go. I made so much. Like I'm not even lying to you, bro. 17-minute videos. The average amount of bread I was getting for a 17-minute video during that time was 300 yams. That's how lovely that whole glove gate. I love that shit. I wish it would come back. We need another glove gate, bro. That shit was love, B.
But the dent, the freaking tire iron or whatever the hell they said he had in his
egg weight.
Yo, Jules, let me ask you a quick question.
Go ahead.
What fight do you think was the best showing of Deontay Wilder as far as skill set? Because I got the fight in mind for me. I want to know what fight you think it is.
I got one.
I know what the fight is to me. When I saw Deontay Wilder actually being a boxer and doing things the correct way.
I know what fight that is.
I know what fight to pick too.
I know what fight that is, but I'm gonna say the fight that showed me that Wilder is a player in the division because he's never shown me skill. But the fight that showed me that he was a real player, that he's limited, but he does have something. That was Ortiz.
That was the Ortiz fight? Which fight? The first fight or the second?
The first fight, because Ortiz was perceived as being a crafty southpaw. Even if you had your suspicions of him, he was a crafty southpaw with somewhat of an amateur background. I mean, at minimum, you knew that the guy can box, and he is a southpaw, and you know how tricky they are. And I feel like
Cuban fighter as well.
Cuban, yeah. So La Finca and all that shit. So I'm like, nah, look, he showed me something in that fight. That's the only fight that I say that, look, he really showed me something in that fight. But all the Fury shit, that shit just gets blown out of proportion. Nevin Pajcik floored Fury, bro. Steve Cunningham floored Fury, bro. John McDermott beat him, and everybody knows it, but they act like it didn't happen.
Well,
so
he made his face look like
I'll let the panel go when they answer. I'll keep my answer for last. I'll let the panel go with their answers.
Stavern. He had a jab in the Stavern fight.
Yes, that's the
fight where he looked like he boxed. He boxed that fight.
Yeah, he moved around the ring. He had a back foot game and everything.
I thought y'all was going to say Areola.
The first Stavern fight.
The first Stavern fight, he shows himself to be an actual boxer that knows what he's doing.
I thought you guys were going to say Shannon Gray.
You know what I thought y'all was going to say? I thought y'all was going to say Areola because he had the jab in the Areola fight because the muscle in his right hand had ripped. In his bicep, it had ripped and rolled into his deltoid, and he couldn't use it, so he had to keep using his jab. He
had a motorcycle injury. That's what that was. I remember he came in with his flesh showing and everything. It was all messed up.
That shit was fucked up.
Yeah,
let me read the super chat. What you make of the DAZN article I sent you? I got to read it first, bro. I get sent a lot of shit. Wake Up says Canelo posted the undisputed game. We get it. 131. Oh, that's what's up. Shit, I'm looking forward to that. I ain't had a boxing game since Fight Night Champion. That's the last.
I thought you guys were gonna say Dan Sheehan, man, back in like I think 2010. Yeah, that guy who had like 38 losses. Great fight.
I mean, Wilder is like Munguia. He just is what he is. Like he just is what he is, and that's why I believe that. Look, as weird as it sounds, Munguia might turn out to be the guy if they can get him Golovkin. Because by the time they fight, he might beat him, and then that'll catapult him and make him cross over and all of that.
I told you what I think about Munguia. I think something is really wrong with Munguia. I don't know what it is. I can't put my.
What you mean, like a medical condition, though?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's a medical condition. I don't know what it is, but something is really wrong with Munguia. The reason why I say that is because he's closer to being a big star that you can promote than Virgil Ortiz is. But they put Virgil Ortiz in all of the hard fights. They had him signed to fight.
But what about the politics, though?
No. Just hear me out. Just hear me out, Jules. I'm just saying the way they're moving these two fighters, I see them ready to throw Virgil Ortiz to the wolves, and they know he gonna come back with the money and he gonna come back right with the belts. True. But with Jaime Munguia, they seem to be tippy-toeing him around. It seems like they know something about him that we don't know. That's why I'm shaky about Jaime. You know what I mean?
But you know what the other shit is? You gotta say this. You gotta say this though, right? If it was Munguia versus Murata, who would you pick?
Munguia.
That's a good. No, I mean that's a close.
No, let me match him. Let me match him because what I'm saying is, I look at Jaime. I'm like, could Jaime beat the Yanni Beck that just fought Denzel? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, he could beat him. Crazy.
He's got good ingredients and everything. Jaime ain't no joke, and he got a good chin, and he got some heart.
That's what I'm saying. And he throw punches and bunches. So I'm like,
he ain't no joke. But when I look at your environment, I gotta say, what's going on?
But some part of that is politics, because if we look at the fight I just mentioned, Munguia versus Yanni Beck, what's the obstacle? Golden Boy ain't about to send him over there to be content for Top Rank.
We getting beside the point right now. I'm not trying to negate what you're saying. You have a point. What I'm saying is the way that they're moving the two fighters, they seem like they never want. You don't hide Mike Tyson, dog.
I dig it.
You don't hide Mike Tyson. You let him loose on the division. They're not doing that.
But he ain't. But also, we could say this too, though. Munguia ain't Mike though. Like he got some shit.
Not, you know what I'm saying, Jules. I'm not saying he Mike. I'm saying if you feel like you got a Mike, if you feel like you really about that life,
I'm gonna ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If they circumvent the politics, fuck the politics. You get that same Munguia in there with Edgar Berlanga, 168. Who wins the fight?
Oh, come on,
Munguia.
All right.
Edgar Berlanga, though.
But that's Edgar Berlanga. Put Munguia in there with Danny Jacobs.
Adamus.
I like it. No, you know
put him in there with Danny Jacobs.
I'm not against that.
The Canelo fans know who Danny Jacobs is, right? The Canelo fans know who Danny Jacobs is. Put him in there with Danny Jacobs.
Put him in with John Ryder. John Ryder and Munguia is a good fight.
Yeah, put him in there with John Ryder.
I agree with that. That's a good fight.
John Ryder might fuck him up.
Yeah. John Ryder might get overwritten because Jaime Munguia is a little Joe Joyce in him. There's a little bit of Joe Joyce in him.
Put Jaime in there with Eubank Jr. just because I don't like Eubank Jr.
God, I would love that.
I'm tired of Eubank, yo.
Oh my God!
Look, I'm tired of Eubank Jr. too. I just want him to get the fuck out of here, man.
He might win that fight. He might win that fight.
Eubank would never take that fight, bro. He would never
win that fight.
How about that one dude, that Fyodor? That I can't pronounce his last name because he's Polish. I think he was ranked top 8. It was like fucking. Oh my fuck!
The one that got knocked out by Gabe
starts with a capital C.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Fuck my life.
The one that got knocked out by Gabe Rosado.
That's Malakuziev.
That's Malakuziev. That's someone else.
Oh yeah,
the one that Golovkin knocked out.
Big bully. That's a big bully.
Oh my God, bro.
I'll give you one. Put Munguia in there with Carlos Adames.
That's
a
what I
great
just said.
fight. That's
Bro,
a,
he's
but I'll tell you, can I tell you why I would pick Munguia? Because of Teixeira. Teixeira ain't all that, bro, and he beat Adames. Teixeira ain't all that, bro.
Triangle
Teixeira-
theory, though, Julius. Triangle theory.
No,
No,
it's
it's
not.
not. No, wait a minute. No. Listen to me. Teixeira is a worse version of Munguia. He's a worse version. It's the same base style. They're both pressure guys, both volume punches, both got a chin.
And he beat Carlos Adames. So
He
you think
beat
that a better
Adames.
version of him would beat him even better?
Yeah, I think he would
I
beat
get what you're
Adames.
saying.
I think he would beat
Carlos
Adames.
Adames right now though is looking kind of ruthless.
He is though. He beat the shit out of whatchamacallit.
Yeah,
Like,
he looking a little ruthless. I got him over Jamal right now.
but I got Mel over him.
You got Mel over him.
I'm
Mel
not
coming
playing.
up to
I'm not.
160?
Listen.
Absolutely.
Wait.
You got
If the
Mel
shit-
over him?
Wait. If the shit happened the way I think it's gonna happen, that Mel gonna come back at 60 and en route to an Adames fight, I got Mel winning that fight.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah,
Mel.
well, you slipping a little bit.
Nah. You
I'm
gonna
gonna tell
see.
you why. I'm
You gonna
gonna tell
see.
you why you slipping. I'm gonna tell you
Mel's
why
the
you
real
slipping.
deal, dude.
Because Jamel is the
Nah,
real deal.
you bugging.
Jamel is the real deal. He's solid. I'm not taking nothing from Jamel. The reason why I say you slipping is because Jamel just got rocked and almost got knocked on his ass by a 154 pounder in Castano.
I'm not
So what
mad
the
at
fuck
that,
is
but
Carlos
also you
Adames
gotta
going to
factor
do?
this in. Look at how fucking long Mel has been at 154, bro. Look at how
Carlos
long.
Adames is cutting weight to come down to 160.
Yeah, but
I
Mel's
got
got the
Mel.
when he hit
Listen, I got
That's a
$100
legitimate
on Mel.
question, man.
I got $100 on Mel Charlo. What's saying?
Okay, so we going 200. We going 200.
Right? Why
on
you
the
gotta
Adames.
God.
Let's go.
You
We
don't
going
want to bet.
200
No,
on
you
the
don't want to
Adames.
bet. You don't want because you don't got
I'm
to do that.
betting.
You don't got to
I'm
do
betting.
that.
I'm
It's
betting. I'm betting.
$100, bro.
I've been waiting to disagree with you.
Nah,
Listen.
B, you
Okay,
don't
so
have to do that.
look. Listen, I'll bet the 200 on Adames. If they fight, I'm telling you, Adames is going to win. I'm not going to say by knockout.
Nah,
I'm
B.
saying Adames is going to
man.
win. And you betting 100 on Jamel at 160, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to war.
All
Let's
right,
go
all right.
to war.
That's done. Because listen,
Let's
that's
go.
going to happen, bro.
I'll
That
do
shit's
that.
gonna
I'll
happen.
do that one. That one is good. I'll do that one. I'll bet my
You
200.
gonna see?
I'll pay my
Jules, you're
bet.
bugging, bro. Jules,
Nah,
I'm bugging. Yo, y'all too
Yo,
high.
I told you Jules
Wait,
is bugging.
Y'all
I told
too
you
high.
Jules is
Y'all a little
bugging.
bit too high. I'm gonna tell you something.
Nah,
Wait a minute,
don't
wait a minute.
renege now.
Y'all
Don't renege now.
forgot that Sergey hurt him. That's y'all problem.
I don't
Y'all
care.
forgot that Sergey
Don't
hurt
renege
Adames.
now. You already caught on the line. Don't renege now.
I'm not. Listen,
$100.
let me turn the camera.
Put your face on the camera. Yeah, put your face on the camera. Let's go.
Listen, B.
You want me to-
Y'all forgot that Sergey hurt him. Little ass Sergey coming off a loss. Y'all too high off that motherfucking that Montiel shit. Montiel ain't
Fighters
shit.
improve
Never
every day.
was.
Fighters improve every day. Listen, Carlos Adames is going to be a problem for Jamel Charlo.
$100, B. I got a hundo.
You remember when Jamel Charlo was on the ropes?
Mel
hold on.
has the answers. He has the
Listen,
answers.
Wait,
do you remember when Mel was on the ropes? Mel threw a right hook. Mel threw a right hook, and Castano threw a right hook like a second before.
Yo,
and he caught Mel.
I have
Mel
a
whole
question
body
for you.
went limp.
I have a question. If you got hurt by Teixeira at 54, Castaño wouldn't have hurt Adames? Teixeira hurt Adames, but Castaño can't hurt Adames.
But Adames is now acclimated to 160.
Stop it.
Who got knocked out by who?
Yeah.
Who got knocked out, man? Did Mel get knocked out or Castano get knocked out?
Look. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because we all know deep down Selecki would beat them both.
Nah, Jimmy Kelly, the Irish dude that Munguia fought. Yo, that dude could box though.
Yo, he'll give Jamal problems. That's all I know.
Keep on them, man.
He'll give Jamal problems.
All right, let me read the super chat. Mel all day, I back him against anybody. I'm telling you, this is a part of the reason I'm picking Mel for that fight. Also, I don't know. Stylistically, I already favor Mel, but also I don't even know if they're gonna keep Adames active, bro. They might shelf him like they did Tuxok until the title fight. Remember, Tuxok Niambiar sat out for a year before he fought Gary Russell. Motherfucking Adames might fuck around, sit out for a year before he fight Mel.
Damn, you're right. Fucked up, buddy. You're right.
I got Mel, B.
I'm still sticking with my bet. I'm still going with
So am I. So am I. Like,
200 cash. 200 cash. I pay my bets.
I pay my bets. Let me put my ticker on so you know where to send me that money. Let me put my ticker on so you know where to send me that money. There you go. There you go. There you go. There's the ticker. You know where to send me that because he gonna lose that fight. Mel is different. More, I ain't gonna front. The Andre fight, I used to be a little bit more confident in Andre because I do believe they're gonna try to make a play to do that fight between them. But he just looks so fucking weird. He hit that dude with every punch that can be thrown, and he couldn't knock him out.
And he got knocked down. And he got knocked down.
And he got knocked down. Fucking Berlanga knocked that same dude down like 4 times. Fucking Andre, he was going for him. It's not like he wasn't trying. He was going for him. He was getting off and just ate that shit. So I don't even know. That's a 50-50 fight. Andre and Charlo, more Charlo. That's a 50-50 fight because I think they going to probably do that in the third or the fourth quarter. I think probably going to do that, and I don't know how that's going to end. Oh, now on that note, gentlemen, I'm going to close out this live. Hi, I got a hundo on Mel.
Wait, can I ask
You're gonna lose.
Wait. Hi, can I ask Chaim a question?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Chaim, is Ben Davison a good trainer?
Me and him had this argument already. And he said that basically, I think Ben Davison has a good analytical brain, but he said basically that Ben Davison is a glorified gym teacher.
Yeah, I did though.
He kind of is. But I don't know. I when I listen to him talk about boxing, he's very astute. He's very on point.
He has a great boxing mind. I don't
take
it away.
He does have
a great boxing mind. But a lot of the people that he came across was like already
built.
Yuri was already a good fighter. Devin Haney was already a good fighter. You didn't do that.
I agree with you. I'm gonna say the same thing. Unfortunately, I'm gonna say the same thing about Derrick James. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say the same thing about Derrick James. Everybody was already built, and you swear to God that you did
Frank Martin. What about Frank Martin?
He made Frank Martin.
He's already a talent. You talking about? I'm training Keyshawn Davis right now. He Theon. I'm training Keyshawn Davis. Yeah, it sounds impressive, but Keyshawn was already built.
Can we say this? Mel Charlo looks better with Derrick than he did with Ronnie. With Ronnie, he looked like
but Jamel Charlo has matured. Yeah, a lot of things is working for Derrick James. A lot of things are working in his favor. He's got the biggest welterweight on earth. The biggest welterweight on earth. He's got him, and he punches to the body, and he's a southpaw. Come on, man.
Let me say this. I feel that at least for me, what shows that Derrick is a good trainer, it's not necessarily the Spence thing. It's the Charlo thing because Charlo didn't used to look good. Like remember the John Jackson fight?
Yeah, I remember that fight. He was losing that fight. He was losing that fight. And then with a good right hand.
And then was he with him also for the Tony Harrison fight, the first one? Was he still with Ronnie?
He was.
That's what I'm saying.
No. He wasn't with Ronnie. He was with Derrick James.
But I'm just saying that it looked like I'm saying to me.
For the first one or the second one? I just want to be clear.
No, the first one, the one that he lost.
I think he was with Derrick James.
For me, he helped make Charlo a better fighter. For me, he helped make him a better fighter.
Julius, be honest. The second Harrison fight, Jamel Charlo wasn't a better fighter. He didn't do much.
You're not wrong.
Hold on. Harrison turned on him. That's what made the fight. The second fight, Harrison got tired of boxing and turned into a boxer puncher and started getting at Charlo. And that's what gave him the.
He was winning that fight.
Yes, he was winning that fight.
He was winning that fight, and if it wasn't for him, if he would have fought the whole fight the way he did the first 3 rounds, he'd have won that shit.
Well, we're gonna find out now with AJ if he turns him around.
What he needs to add to AJ's game, the most important thing he needs to add to AJ's game is fluidity. And if he can't add that, if he can't add a quickness or a speed of foot and hand, it has to be foot and hand together. If he can't add that to AJ's game, he's worthless. And that goes for any trainer.
Can he
No,
help
AJ is too much of a textbook fighter. He needs to be more fluid.
I'll say this: he can help AJ balance out being defensive while being offensive. He can help him do that because AJ problem seems to be he don't want to commit to the punches because he's scared he's gonna get hit. That's the problem that he got. Could Derek fix that? Yeah, I think he can. The real issue is you dividing time between what are 3-star clients, 4-star clients if you count Frank Martin.
Frank Martin, yeah.
And when you got a full plate like that, are you really giving all the fighters the attention they need? Are you really, or do you end up with too much like Eddie motherfucking Reynoso? Because he had Ryan and he had Oscar and he got Canelo and he got Frankie.
He only really got to give two. He only got to give 2 of those fighters attention. He don't really got to give all 4 of them attention. To be honest,
true.
Because 2 of them is already built. They know what the fuck it is. He's got a repertoire with them. He understands what's going on. So that's what it is. So now the other 2. Joshua, he gotta do a lot of work with Joshua. Only not because Joshua's bad off. Joshua's got the fundamentals, but the fluidity. That's a lot of training to train fluidity, to get fluidity into a fighter. That's a lot of training.
And they have 8 weeks. They have 8 weeks.
Yeah, to make a fighter go from, let's say, Errol Spence, to make a fighter go like you got Errol Spence, he just walked into your gym, and to turn him into a Terrence Crawford. It's hard.
That would take years, bro. That would
no. I'm not talking about the overall package. I'm talking about just the fluidity of punches, how they throw their punches. That's hard. Ever Spence, everything is deliberate, everything is on point.
I'll tell you what, you won't see that if it's that scenario. The fluidity won't come till like maybe 2-3 fights. It won't. It ain't gonna be there the next fight. The fluidity,
it ain't gonna be there, but a little bit of it should show up. Look, he should be looser in his shoulders. AJ is walking around like he's in a jail cell.
AJ is too tense.
Yeah, he's too tense. He's walking around like he's in general population.
Look,
if you put him in solitary, I expect his shoulders to drop, and I expect him to start to
that
let
AJ
loose.
punch like he in gym pop.
Yeah, he do. Like, he walk around like he in general population.
Oh shit!
I may be on the minority on this one, but honestly, I don't think Ryan. I mean, his when he was training under Garcia, like I did see things he did better. I just think, I think AJ was too quick to drop Garcia. Personally, I think I think AJ was expecting like, oh yeah, new trainer, automatic like change in how I'm gonna fight. I think
what everybody's saying, like the way that the situation.
Everybody said the second fight he did better.
He did better, and it's almost like bro, it's Usyk. So don't sack Rob.
Yeah,
don't sack Robert because you lost to Usyk. It's Usyk, bro. Like it's
hard. Did you fight in the Matrix? Like
me and Jules had this. We discussed this leading up to the second fight, like religiously. It's like, how much can you really expect to learn in a couple of months training with him?
But also, this is the other angle of that. Look, this dude ain't been fighting like that. So you have been in a perpetual state of training between all these fights. Remember, he only fought 3 times in the last 3 years. Most of that was just him being in camp.
What AJ needs is not boxing training so much. What he really needs, I hate to say it but it's the honest to God truth. He needs dance classes.
Yo, fuck around. And Tony
That's
Robbins.
What he needs. He needs
Tony Robbins.
Lomachenko, Usyk, they dance class graduates.
Bro,
that's what they are.
We need Tony Robbins to motivate him because I think it's more of a ticker issue than it's a boxing issue. If I'm being honest, it's a ticker issue that I think it's like a psychological thing.
And we said that.
We said that. No, we said that earlier. He ain't been the same since that Ruiz knockout.
No, we understand that, but he never had a ticker issue ever. Look at what he did and what he accomplished.
I'm saying that after three losses, he thinking maybe I'm not as good as I thought. Yeah. And what he need to realize is, no, you are that good. You good. You lost to good fighters. That's all. You are that good. Throw with some conviction. Knock people out. You still can. You like, bro, most of them guys in that division, he'll knock out Hergovic. He'll knock out McKay.
I said that, Juice. I said the good news about Anthony Joshua, the good news for Anthony Joshua is he'll beat everybody else in the division.
Legitimately.
He'll beat everybody else.
I
knock them out.
No. I'm going to say this. 50-50 fight is Joe Joyce. That's a 50-50 fight.
You think that's a 50-50 fight?
I'm going to tell you why. Round 6. Go ahead. He started to let off the gas. If you do that and Joe start landing, you could be in a lot of trouble.
Yes, you could be. But here's the thing. You said real 6, he started to let off the gas. Before he let off that gas, what type of damage did he do? Because this is Anthony Joshua, 250 pounds, 6'6". What type of damage did he leave?
So I'm gonna ask you a question. Then you think this is a blind question because nobody know. We don't know.
We just speculating.
You think he could knock out Joe Joyce?
Yes, 100%.
AJ?
Yeah. Anthony Joshua. No doubt about it.
I don't know about that.
No doubt, and listen, no doubt in my mind that Anthony Joshua can knock out Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
This is why I say this. Anthony Joshua is a whole different level of athlete. Nobody has really got what Anthony Joshua got. The first time I ever saw Anthony Joshua, I wasn't impressed with his size. I was impressed with his speed and his hand speed coordination.
That is true. And if you seen the sparring session between them, that's how he was. Yeah, that's why he was tagging
piecing him up. I think if Anthony Joshua is piecing you up like that, one of those punches sends you home.
I'll tell you what, if AJ does, like, for example, 6 rounds of relatively consistent body shots, maybe. My issue is, like, are we going to get Joshua the one who fought Klitschko, or are we going to get Joshua wants to be a pure boxer?
Can we say, wait, all right.
I think either one.
No. Let me say this. Wait, let me say this. The Joshua that beat Andy Ruiz, you're going to think is crazy. The Joshua that beats Andy Ruiz, that's how he got to fight against Joe. It's not about the right hand.
He doesn't have to do that.
No,
he doesn't have to do that.
This is going to lead to a question. I know, Jules, you was trying to get off the live. I'm sorry to bother you, but I got to ask you a question because I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you about a fucking 20 minutes ago.
All right.
Where is your best Anthony Joshua? I know exactly what fight for me is my best Anthony Joshua, and it ain't none of the fights y'all talking about.
I got you.
I think Dominic Brazil.
Yes, thank you. Dominic Brazil is the best Anthony Joshua. That is the best Anthony. That's the best I've ever seen him. Anthony Joshua beats everybody in the division.
No. Best I ever seen him, right? I disagree because Brazil, he had advantages.
He was beautiful.
Brazil. He had no. He performed great. Was the performance great? Yes, but the best Joshua I seen was Povetkin.
No,
he got
hell no. What are you talking about, fam?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Because he adjusted in the ring. He's saying that because he made an adjustment in the ring. He got hit with a clean left hook to the nose that busted his shit. At the end of the first round. At the end of the first round.
Nobody had never did that to Povetkin, not even Klitschko. Nobody did that to Povetkin. Nobody handled him like that, B. That's the best Joshua I ever
missed that.
No, but you saying that because of the results. I'm talking about actual in the ring fighting in the ring movement and everything.
Bro, it's Brazil, bro.
Brazil, bro. Hold on, it was by far the best Joshua fight because at the time we know Joshua is 250 or 240. Joshua at that fight was 245. Dominic Brazil was 255. Joshua was dancing on him and
anybody would look better against Brazil.
That's what I'm saying. It's Brazil, bro. Like let's not.
I know it was
crazy.
Brazil, but if you look at, I'm not talking about Brazil as the opponent. I understand what you're saying. We always got to rate the performance on the opponent, but what I'm saying is the way he was actually moving, what he was doing, how he was looking. Look, Michael Hunter versus Bacoli. Bacoli was sitting there like a lump, but we still give Michael Hunter his credit, right?
That's true. So, but we know that Bacoli is credible. All I'm saying is this: that a fight where I seen you got to change something because this dude is hitting you with some shit. So you got
that was the Povetkin fight. That was the
Povetkin fight. Bro, that dude is tricky and he hit hard, and he was always one of the hardest hitters in the whole division. So to me,
dangerous.
I would say Povetkin before Brazil. Now let me read these last 2 super chats. Jungle Jams wants to bring back Kelly Pavlik. DHP Jr. He says, salute the DAZN pimp slapping the competition around with an open hand. On that note, gentlemen, I will see y'all on the next one.
All right, Jules.
AJ knocks the fuck out of Joe.